And we are live. But make sure it's correct. Perfect. Very well. Make him over, scoot him over here. And the shark this way. There we go. Very good. Shabbat Shalom, my dear friends, honorable judges, LVE tribe, as well as anyone listening. On this so precious and radiant, heated, not so radiant maybe because it's a bit cloudy, but heated it is. You start to feel the heat of the Californian hot summer, little by little, on this so beautiful Shabbat, which is Shabbat, the 29th of Aviv. I tell it to you from now before I forget. I'm not going to forget, but I'm going to tell it to you now. If right now the sun is going down, stop listening to me. Go out and watch the moon. Look for the moon today. We have to see it. If nobody sees it, unfortunately, and so angrily, we're going to have to make the calendars again because I know the moon will have to be seen today. So then today, everyone in LVE, everyone that's listening to us and understands at least 3% of what I say, today the moon will be seen. It has to be seen outside when the sun is going down, and to wait for at least 45 minutes once the sun goes down and the moon, sun will see it. And once you see it, take a picture. And if you don't have a way of taking a picture, just say, I've seen it. And with that, it'll be already satisfied in the whole eternal truth. Why? Because it'll give initiation to the month of Ishar. So then today, Shabbat, the last day of the month of Aviv, and we go into the second month. The second month, which at 17th day, coincides with the 1335 days of Daniel 12. Will something take place? It's most likely that no, like always. I desire, I wish, I hope so, but actually nobody anything happens. How long should we have to wait? I don't know, but at least we find interest in things and we have a living hope. But we enter today into the second month. Very well. So then, this day, last day of Aviv, 29th of the year 5992, which coincides with May 20th of the year 2023, we shall study yet another chapter of Revelation 17, part 31, seals, trumpets, and plagues, part 4. But before I note that all of you want to continue with the study of seals, trumpets, and plagues, which I don't find it to be so crucial right now that we're barely in the first one. We're trying to see what will happen later. I have to talk about a subject at the beginning that you'll see first now. But before anything, we shall seek our Elohim. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks for this so precious day. We thank you because you bless us, you try us, you give us difficulties so that we surpass them, so that just like in a gym, we can attain more strength, more muscle, and a better character. I ask you that your spirit be in every one of us. We really wait for you, that in 17th day you do something. Sometime in our eyes, we really wait for this, knowing that always nothing has ever happened, but we are still faithful because we are the judges of this earth, the last ones that are left, the last ones that understand the truth, and we shall have to be patient until you dare do something or decide to do something. All this, I thank you for asking you that in our eyes you do something in your precious name, Yahweh Sabaoth. Alleluia. Well, you see, my prayers are different to whatever you have ever seen in your life. They are different because all this is different. All this is different. And that is how I expect your prayers to be. In the same way, I expect that your prayers should be that you have learned to correct. Precisely, we are now demanding from Yahweh for him to do something. We are not going to do anything except prepare ourselves to understand the truth, and the one that has to play the card is him. The one that has the ball in his court is him. But we are still having faith because we know that it'll get here. And we hope that it is this year. We hope that it is very soon. At least, or therefore, or meanwhile, we are in the countdown of the Omer. Today is the last day of week number 2, day 14. Week 2, day 14, when the sun goes down in the month of Ziv of Ishar starts, it'll be week number 3, day number 15. But today is week number 2, day 14. The Lord has blessed with one more year of life the following members of the Eternal Truth, which are many. I'm going to read them correctly. Jose Sanchez, Mexico. Ruth Cortez, Colombia. Hortensia Quevedo, Chile. David Hernandez, Mexico. Maria Elizabeth Espinosa Zúñiga, Ecuador. William Bernal, the US of A. Omar Rodriguez, Colombia. David Perez Rivera, the US of A. Julia Neto, Brazil. Estefania Paisa, El Salvador. Erika López López, Guatemala. Consuelo Sáenz Aguilar, Mexico. Emileni López de la Cruz, Guatemala. Uriel Jared Sangrone Ramírez, Venezuela. Estela Maris López, Argentina. And Juan Ramón Beltrán, Mexico. To each and every one of you, a great big hug. On behalf of the Eternal Truth, many blessings, and may it be the very last that you have under the government of Babylon. And the next one, you be in a different government. That is our desire, our better desire that we may have. I also want to welcome you, Yaile Esther, in Colombia, which was baptized by Luis Enrique Calvachi, which placed the video. Welcome. Yeah, and I hope it's pronounced that way. Yaile or Jayle, the way I'm going to pronounce it. I'm going to hit it on the mark. Yaile Esther. Welcome. Welcome to the Eternal Truth. What good decision you had made in the baptism in the name of Yeshua. Every one of you that have not been baptized, it is a good moment to do it. Okay, I'll repeat again. Today the moon will be seen. Today, if you are listening to me in some place in this flat earth and the sun is leaving, stop listening to me and go out to try to see if you can see the moon. The rest of you that have to wait, and in the adequate time when the sun is going down, then you can go and look for the moon. It is fundamental. It is fundamental, primordial, that every one of you in the Eternal Truth go out and look for the moon. Why? Because it becomes the second month, the month of Ziv or Ishar, any one of those names, or the second month, however you like. And the countdown, the special countdown starts for the 217. So then, today at night will go into the second month, which we hope for it to be magnificent and fatidic, depending on how you see it. One more week for the Lord. Heinz Alfred Kissinger, which is still alive and kicking. I believe he's going to live till 120, he says, till 120. But it'd be great that before he gets, which is next Shabbat, for it to go into rest, a well-deserved rest. So then, salutation to Mr. Heinz Kissinger. Very well, I'd like to publicly congratulate, and actually this leaves me without any words. I'd like to congratulate Sara Enriquez. Why? She went to the dentist yesterday, and she had to remove a tooth from in the front, and she told the doctor, without anesthesia. And the doctor said no. And they started to argue, and even there was bad words. I said, no anesthesia, I can't do it without anesthesia. So then with all the anger and everything, they pulled it without anesthesia. Says, I thought that Elohim was going to give me strength, for example, to avoid the pain, because it is strength only mine for them to take out from the front. Just by imagining that situation, actually it is for people that are very special, mind you, for very special people to get rid of a tooth without anesthesia, that it has poison, which has the blood mixed with hail, knowing that how difficult it is. What a difficult a situation that Elohim placed us in. She says she wanted to insult Yahweh, and I find that to be perfect. First one is the first one that needs to receive all the insults, because if it weren't because of him, if it weren't because of him, it would be in a different situation. This week I heard so many subjects. Maybe you've never heard all the idiots that talk about in the internet. They don't learn. I don't learn shit, but I do learn what isn't what you should not have to believe, at least. And they say such stupid shit. It's all Satan's fault, and God is a complete idiot. That is in parentheses, is waiting someday to beat Satan, because all the injunctions, no. They haven't understood, absolutely. They have not understood the Bible. They have not understood the Bible, that God does evil, that God does everything, that we are the product of everything, that he's the serpent. So then, if the serpent wants to inject its fucking poison, whose fault is it? His. If the beast persecutes me, whose fault is it? His. Just like that, his is the fault. If the Sanhedrin in the temple would persecute the apostles, whatever, Christians, whose fault is it? His. Whose house is going to be if it's not? Whose house is going to be? It is something which we are the only ones that understand this. There are others that understand it, but they become atheists, but they're actually not atheists, but believe in something, in a God, but in whatever kind of God. Obviously, we believe that it's all his fault, but that not all. We worship him. Why? Because since it's his fault, the redemption has to come to him on his behalf, and for us to be a blessing to all the earth. That's the way it is. Exactly, by my fault, they shall be persecuted. By my name, they shall be blasphemed. And we are the last hope of the earth. Look, there's no more hope, mind you. There's no more hope. Because the flat earthers that have all my respect go into Hinduism, they go into Indian witchcraft, they go to take drugs to try to find spirituality in their inner spirituality. They go into whatever other philosophy that is empty, that they see it in I don't even criticize them. They're in their search for the truth, but it has nothing to do with the scripture. Now, those of the new Germanic medicine, they're not religious, biblical religious. They're in a different aspect. They also go into Hinduism. They go into the New Age. They're in the search for the truth. And why? Because it's Yahweh's fault. Because the religions that come out from the Bible are dog shit. Complete dog shit. So then, how can I blame a guy, a flat earther, or a new medicine, or conspiranoic, like conspiracy theorists? How can I blame them if they see that all the Christian religions and also the other ones, the refried beans, that have this, are a disaster, and they lie, and that they conclude effectively that this Bible is the root of the lie. Because if all the religions that break away from this are dog shit, the last thing they want to do is to look for the fountain, the source in this book. You understand? We're the last hope there is. And we still have this book as a base, but also we have everything which the wisdom that Yahweh has given aside from this book on this earth, and actually there's no more hope. So then we have to wait. The blame is Yahweh's. Yahweh is to blame. There's no turn of the page. If you don't like what I speak, you have not understood the message. You have not understood it. Once you understand it, you see that it is all manipulation of his. Why? Because the 6 days of creation tells you that he created this, he created the monsters, he created this and that, he created man and woman, and he tells man and woman, now you have to rule over all this. But it's kind of like he has yet to tell us that part. When he gives the command, now you have to rule, and you have to rule over the beasts, and to subjugate the beasts, that part has yet to become a reality with us, because we have not the divine command. Who has the divine command? The beast. It was given power. Who? It says he gave it power. So then now who has to receive that power? The Son of Man. And the Son of Man, of course, is not Yahweh, nor the one that made himself be called Jesus was Yahweh himself 2,000 years ago. It is precisely man, the creation of his hands. We, a part of humanity, the best part of humanity. That is why we are waiting to see when. We'll see when. So then, Sara Enriquez went to the dentist and they took out the teeth without anesthesia. She sent me the pictures. And what I wanted to tell her immediately was, I told her, you know that, Sarah, today you won the ring because I know that you had told me that someday you would have it and blah, blah, blah. Today you won it. Due to the pain that you had, we are going to gift you the ring. So then I asked her for the number. She's very happy. She started to cry. She'll go to the jewelry store. She says, oh, I don't do it with the intention. No, of course, you weren't even imagining it. But with the effort, sometimes brings some sort of benefit in life. The benefit is that you won the ring. We'll send it to your house for free. Just give us the number. Nothing else. Another gift. Very well. The rings are still getting there slowly. Some, I honestly don't know if they're lost or not. But oh well. We're going to top it off, I get angry because I don't even blame the thieving man. I blame the greater thief above man. We already know who it is. He, with the command, if he gives the command, that ring should arrive. They could go by Kissinger, they could go by Biden, they could go by all the thieves that they have ever seen, and they'll give it. Why? The worst things in the world is why? Because he gives the command. He gives the command. If he is capable of blinding, if he's capable of blinding, if he is capable of thickening the heart, he's also capable of making Satan go inside and making you do what you don't want to do. That is more than clear. Absolutely clear. So then, if the ring does not arrive, we already know who is to blame. Let us not even blame Mexico's customs or Argentina's or Colombia's. Anything could have happened if he gives a command. This happens and this happens. I give the command. Maybe there's one above. I trust completely, but there's one above me, the one that is above me, the ones that is above me. It is him to blame if your ring does not arrive. Period. That's it. Absolutely. Very well. Excuse me?
Now they're all going to go out and pull their teeth out.
If you take your tooth out without anesthesia, then you have a free ring. So then the phrase will be, instead of it cost me one testicle, it cost me one tooth. Okay. Or you just pay the $200. Okay, very well. Oh, it's so heated. I'm just resting a little bit because it's so heated. Okay. I'd like to remind you, I also want to remind you that of the ring. All those that have not ordered it, I don't know what you're waiting for. Openly, I've told you, give me your number, and then you'll see how you pay for it. But give me your number if you want it. Ask it. Ask me for it. The jeweler that makes them, he's so busy. He has over 100 rings that I've asked for waiting. So then, if I don't tell you whether I sent them or not, it's because the guy is still taking his time. And to top it off, as a blessing, which would be just by making the ring, he has so much work that's why he makes me wait. I'm telling to you now. Because the blessings come and you don't even know how. Okay. All those that wish to have the ring, you can make a commitment with Yahweh and then ask me for it, because he will give you the means to get the ring. But everyone in the Eternal Truth should have the rings. Angelina's Consult of New Germanic Medicine, I remind you, every one of you, all the Eternal Truth that you already know, and also all those friends of you that are not of the Eternal Truth, you can refer them to her, because it is a benefit that you cannot pay for it, because once they make you find the problem, the center of what's happening to you, of your DHSs, of your conflicts, your life changes in that service. We do it not just in religion or doctrine that we teach, which is wisdom, but also in physical life, so that you are a better person, so that actually you can go out and do what and have success in what this world offers you per se. And I'd like to thank all those of you that send your donations to Angelina. If you don't know how, you send it to my name and you tell me that it's for Angelina, and I'd like to thank all those who send their collaboration, because Angelina, it is well deserved by Angelina. Very well. We still advance here. 1335 of October 9th of the year 2019, where we initiated in that Yom Kippur the new medicine, no, pardon me, not the new Germanic medicine, but actually in that Yom Kippur, the cup of wine started of the year October 9th, 2019. That is when we could say, prophetically speaking, that punishment starts upon the earth like that plague, the first plague, that first seal upon the earth. When will it start? In Yom Kippur. Of what year? Of the year 2019. What is it called, that punishment? Cup of wine 2019. So then it's the cup of wine 2019 when did it initiate, the best time, the best possible date, perfect. October 9th. Well, why? Because it's Yom Kippur. Because Yom Kippur is the purification of the temple. And if it's the purification of hours of the temple, and also the contrary, if there's going to be an abomination of the temple, of all those who did not want the purification that was already coming from a year before in 2018, then they received the abomination. And the abomination given in the day of purification is rather prophetic. And 1335 days from then on out, we arrived to 217, to June 5th of this year, June 5th of this year, at sunset. It is number 5 and 6 of June, 5th of June and 6th of June. Nothing will absolutely happen, and give it to you very clear, because I'm already tired of them saying nothing ever fulfills what you say. Nothing's going to happen, but I hope that something very magnificent will happen from Yahweh. But knowing Yahweh, nothing will absolutely happen. But when should it happen? When? The 5th and the 6th, because it's between the two. So you have 2 days, 5th and 6th of June. If something happens or nothing happens, it's already, does not depend on us. It depends on him. Maybe he's too drunk drinking with the beast. Absolutely drunk. Very well. Well, I've already told you that the month of Aviv ends today, and we have to go out and look for the moon. Well, let's go into the subject. We go into the subject, the primary subject, which will take us some time, because I'd like to teach this. Because I had not planned to speak of the subject, and still not planned to speak of the subject, because it's subjects that I prefer to talk about other subjects, and aside from that, I had already spoken about this many years ago, and blah, blah, blah. So then, since they asked me this question publicly, and it's not a question but a comment, rather, it's a comment and a question, same thing. Since I would like to answer this comment, I want to answer it. It was public, and I'll answer it publicly. And with the best kindness, with love, trying to make it be understood, not as a reprehension, because sometimes we as human beings do not really understand things, and we misfocus them, and if we misfocus them, we don't see the picture, the figure, because we are focused in something and we don't see the rest. So then, this has only the intention of instructing for those who wanted to accept it, and not of reprehension under any aspect, and also not as a criticism, but it is my answer, my honest answer, and it's also that we're gonna do it correctly. Okay, this comment was public, and it was done by Claudio Rios, member and judge of the eternal suit. So then go ahead and get ready, Claudio. 6 days ago in the comment of the last subject, right? The last subject. I'm going to read it. I'm going to take out all the mistakes or the horrors unless I get mistaken in a word here and there or that I have to correct, but I'm going to take out all the I'll just correct those. I'm not going to do grammatical errors right now. That's not the focus right now. It'd be 4 or 5 more hours to talk about that, but I would just correct it just automatically as the intention of Claudio. As if Claudio were here. As if Claudio were here, okay? So then Claudio says this. Beloved Christian and Leslie, the subject was great. I am so happy to hear you, but I differ in some points. From here on out, I'm telling you, I don't believe in tithes. In my point of view, it is a dead law of a God that died some time ago. In fact, in my personal experience, it has never been good at all. It was never good at all. Bosta, they use the word, it is shit. It's like dog shit. That is bosta. It was not, it never any good. It was worth like dog shit. Is what you're trying to say. Like when you step on shit, they don't call it bosta. Not even the material, the fecal matter of men nor of dogs. Actually, it is only is cow shit, like bullshit, and it's mixed with the grass and everything. That is what bosta is. It was never any. It was not never any valuable, but bosta is very, very well used for plants. It is great. Also, or else just ask Ezekiel. That also. See, that's the thing, but he's like, it's not even good for bosta, which is manure, but it has a lot of uses to fertilize, to do for burning wood, and for many other things. He says it's not even good for, not even for that, not even. What do you call bosta? What do you call bosta? No, it has to be a different name to make it different. There has to be another name. Yeah, I believe there has to be a different name. Guano, they say in Chile. Yeah, I think I've heard about that. Yeah, I've heard about that in Argentina also. In the interior, I've heard it. It's not that I've ever used it. It is used. Give me another. It's just of that. We call it plasta. They call it a plasta. Manure. Yeah, manure, right? Because you don't say dog manure, right? Manure is okay. Okay, we've learned new words. Bosta, muñiga, whatever words you wanted to use for manure. Well, Paul also said, I have the Torah as manure to me. It is as manure to me. As bosta. Okay, very well. It was never worth manure to me. That's an abbreviation that is used in the interior, not in the capitals, but in the to abbreviate certain words. Instead of say para, it's pa bosta. It's an abbreviation of everything that you say. It was never any good, not even for manure. Nothing has been fulfilled, not even the 1%, unfortunately, I have to tell you. But it is the way it is. Okay, you have to understand what Claudio is saying. He's not talking about doctrine or prophecy. He's talking about that never, in his experience, not even 1% has been fulfilled. What I say of the tithe, that's what he's talking about. He's not mixing subjects. He's not saying, no, what you've said, starting with 2011. He's not saying that. That's not what Claudio says. That with the tithes, of what I say about the tithe, in his personal experience, not even 1% has been fulfilled. That is what I'm saying. I have to tell it to you, but that's the way it is. Tithes is dog shit. Now, from bosta, we say dog shit. We say shit directly. Tithe is dog shit. And it has never blessed me. He says, that fucking tithe has never blessed me. He has never blessed me. I'm just imagining Claudio for him. He's smoking 2 cigars right now. He's smoking 2 cigars right now. Because he can't argue anything. So he's nervous right now. He is smoking. The wife is looking at him. I told you. Why did you fucking comment that? I told you. I'm always booking pictures and everything. And then you put that dumb shit. Claudio, just keep it to yourself.
I told you, don't post that. And his children also, they noticed. They're looking at him weird. See, you exceeded yourself by posting that. We know how stingy you are. You don't just not give tithes, you don't give a shit, Dad. But please don't write that. We already know that. If there's misery, don't let people know about it.
They're all nervous. All 4 are nervous right there. Wow, they're all extremely nervous. And the other one's saying, but if don't you know, then why do you get into it? I don't know if it's great because it's very, you know not, apparently. But if you know not, why do you get into it? That's the way they say it because that's what they like it. If you know not, why do you get into it? So then he says, but that's the way it is. Tithes are dog shit. It never blessed me. All I found was pain. What do you find in tithes, Claudio? Pain and conflicts and conflicts. And to top it off, it would make me even weaker. He put devil. It should be weak. He wrote it as if it were the devil. Because I always waited on another. But Claudio would give the tithes, make him weaker because he waited on another. In whom other? The one that he gave the tithes, is that he was waiting, or in Yahweh? In whom did he wait? He wants to answer, but no. It made me weaker, but I was always waiting for another. Just laws for slaves. Idiots that are dumbasses. I love tithes, and I was given to it should be on a slave, an idiot, and a dumbass, obviously. Finally so, he said. You like that? So then you're a slave, you're an idiot, and you're a dumbass. Not just you, Christian, but all those that give you the tithe. All those that give their tithes are what? Claudio says. They are slaves, they are idiots, and they are dumbasses. Simply so, an unjust law. That is my experience, and it's not another's that counts. He says, only what I say counts, not what another person says. Only my wisdom. The rest is no good. I've never left Cordoba to another country. That doesn't count. I am from Cordoba. I'm a fan. What is he a fan of from the Great Institute? To tell us, what are you a fan of? Of Talleres, maybe. I think he is from, I don't know. He's from Del Grano. I don't know. I like either 3. Talleres, Beltran, Instituto. I like all 3. But he says, it's my experience and not another's counts. It says, they can fuck off. Yet, he says, I do believe in well-paid labor of people that work. In your case, donations. So then he agrees with donations, not with tithes. Another problem that I think about is the way of getting it to you. That'd be another problem. That is already like another problem. It doesn't matter if we believe it's from LVE only. Only from LVE with no tithes. Another problem that is in my problem is the way of letting it get to you. Okay, I am far away from any country, and to top it off, I don't want to get a bank account. That's perfect. I've never had any, and I don't want to have one. I am an enemy of the bank system. Perfect. We all are. And even if I wanted to, I can't. The motorcycle, what's it say? The motorcycle is broken. In the CDI, I don't want to. What the CDI is the ID or the motorcycle. I don't know what he's talking about. He's talking about the plates or the identity, the ID, or how he pays for the taxes for the motorcycle, or maybe it's just his plates. The CDI is like a testicle and a half what it costs me, or a tooth and a half without anesthesia, a tooth without anesthesia. Because when with anesthesia, it is not valuable. A tooth and a half or testicle and a half, and I am on foot. Someday, okay, let's say Claudio does not believe in tithes because it's always brought a curse, and it's a pain. So then he, without giving tithes for years, he's well blessed. Our conclusion, he has a rain of blessings. He has a good motorcycle. He has no problem. He has a bank account like this. Okay, 1/4 of it, and that without giving tithes, because a tithe is a curse. So then, getting a conclusion, if it's a curse, if he were to give the tithes, he'd be dead already. He would be dead already. He'd be in jail. He would be like on the street, like a homeless. Of course, Claudia, and I'm not criticizing you, okay? We are getting conclusions of what you wrote here only. Aside from the fact that we received your insult, very wholeheartedly and with love, we received your insult because you're Claudio and you've been here since 2011, although you left and then came back, but you've been here since 2011, so then we received already very wholeheartedly, since you insulted us, we're still jumping to conclusions that without tithes, without giving tithes, apparently things aren't going so well. The motorcycle is broken, and he's a mechanic, though. If the mechanic has the motorcycle broken, what if he wasn't a mechanic? Exactly, I just make conclusions. The motorcycle is broken when it could be running. I don't have a bank account, which is acceptable, but what if you had money and you had a bank account? Maybe you'd have something better, or maybe there's no need to have a bank account. Of course, there's no need. So then he says, someday when we are face to face, we will fix ourselves with money or with property. Those are promises that are good, and I accept them. They're good, and wholeheartedly I accept them. It won't be necessary, of course, Claudio. Tell to you, for real, never such a blessing has ever existed. It's always the anger is against tithes. Of course, he doesn't see the blessing. But you have not given tithes for so many years, you don't see the blessing. The motorcycle is not working.
All your paperwork is up to date.
He's like, when I give the tithes, I don't see the blessing. That's why I don't give tithes.
Exactly.
So then, by not giving tithes, he should have said, look at how much blessing I get by not giving tithes.
It'd be logical of you, Claudio. To say, look, I don't have a motorcycle. I have
10 motorcycles. Not one bike, but 10 bikes.
I don't have a bank account. I have 3 different banks. Honestly, life smiles on me, and I don't give tithes. This demonstrates that when I used to give it, I didn't have anything. And now that I don't give tithes, it's when God started to bless me. And I have so many properties that when I see you face to face, I'm going to give you a property, but you don't even know what it was. So then what would say, and it makes some sense, right?
But to say the grapes are green, the fox says, because it can't get to the ripe ones, and says they're still green.
It's what Leslie said last Shabbat. People say, I don't see any blessing, but are you a blessing?
Exactly. Well, what a question from Leslie. Many people say, look, I don't see any blessing. But what you should ask yourself, how much of a blessing am I me to the rest?
How much blessing is everyone to the rest? How much blessing do we have? How much blessing do we have to give? And when we say something, we have to demonstrate it. We have to demonstrate how bad it was when you gave tithes and how good it is when you stop giving it. That you have to demonstrate it. But if you tell me, look, I can't give you the tithes because it's a curse. I know it's a curse, but I don't have anything now. It's all broken. I don't have 1 peso. I don't even have all the paperwork updated. It's all dog shit. I'm walking because I don't have anything, but I feel blessed because I don't give tithes. It's not that I feel blessed in my healthy, in my lineage. That is clear. Right, la bosta, the bosta, the manure.
He says he'll answer you later, but there's something else. What happens with those who do receive blessing because they give tithes?
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. We're talking about from the perspective of Claudio, from Claudio's perspective. So then he says precisely, yes, he continues, seriously, I'm telling you, never has such a blessing existed. But Claudio, you can't speak for all the people. You can't speak. You can talk about your own experience. Never such a blessing has existed. Aside from that, I don't want anyone to ever rule over me. He thinks that if you give tithes, you're being ruled, nor to manipulate me. He says tithes are manipulation, or to try to manipulate me or rule over me. Okay, or through, he says, or through something similar. So then he says tithes are a government over the people, manipulation over the people. Tithes is to manipulate people, and tithes are, well, to manipulate through something similar, which everything that I've said, I want to be free. That is what you should understand. I want to be free from giving tithes because you're extremely free. You're so free that the motorcycle is broken. You can't pay for the paperwork. And you're free to write whatever you want. I want to be free. Here, I want to be free from tithes, which is a horrible burden.
I mean, I don't know, but the way I'm reading it is that with what he's writing is that he sees it like a tax and not like a small quantity of his earnings.
I'm going to sharpen this pencil so I can sharpen my answer. Exactly. Claudio sees this like taxes from an unfair government that obligates him to pay. When tithes is something different, I'm going to explain it, what tithes are, but he sees it like taxes. Okay, he says, I want to be free. I want to be free. Like that movie, that song, I want to be free, I want to be free, I want to be free. From what? You are free. Because if you say, I want to free, I want to get divorced. So I want to tell your wife, I want to be free. Patricia, tell her to see what she says. I want to be free. For her to make such a good food, I want to be free. I don't want that dog shit. I want to eat Mexican food, for example. I want to be free. Exactly. Maybe you want to be free, really, from the impediments that society has given you. You want to come out from the closet. Maybe Claudia comes from the closet. I want to be free because I was from Talleres or Del Grano and hidden. You were from Boca, and so then you attack from the Boca and says, someday I'll be free. I always like Boca. The blue and gold, how beautiful, but no, I hated it because I'm from Cordoba. I want to be free. Someday you're going to say, I want to be free. We're just playing. He's like this with his vein popping out right now. No, don't answer me if I'm just starting. I'm just barely starting. I haven't even started to answer him. I'm just reading his comments. He wants to answer me already. Claudio already wants to clarify his comment. I haven't given any answer. I'm just reading his comment. Nothing else. I haven't even started. Just because you gave us such compliments, you told us what? No, aside from that, we are slaves, idiots, and dumbasses. Okay, I want to be free without any
submitting unto other. I don't even want to be manipulated by Yahweh. These are things that I don't want to stop on, but really, that we can't even avoid being manipulated, because we're manipulated in every sense, because we're His creation. Even if we don't want to, it's like if somebody says, I don't want to be manipulated by the one manipulating, but I mean, who did He ask? He didn't even ask. He sets kings and takes away kings. Judas didn't say anything, and they said Satan went in him. Maybe we don't want that exactly, but from that point, from anything happening or not, He does what He pleases. Just to learn justice, just to learn from justice, you have to ask yourself, and what is justice? Might tithes not be part of justice? No, and He's not seeing it. No, you see it, tithe, as being unfair from an unfair God. So then He says, I want to learn justice. And to give it to the weaker. Why are the weaker weak? And why give it to the weak? You see, there's a wrong mistake there. The weak to those that are, the gift to the weak makes them even weaker. It says that those that are weak, it makes them even weaker. What you have to teach the weak is wisdom, is to learn to live in this life.
So the weak go to hell, and we don't offer them things, and we're not going to offer them things easily, but for them to learn. So then, instead of giving it to the weak, justice and all the rest, it's kind of like, however you want to see it. Actually,
We should not give it to those that are weak. Actually, we should teach those that are weak to be strong. Do we understand? Okay, to be good. But not just because we give it to them. Okay, here's a concept that's so equivocal. She says that if I give justice to the weak, that they are good, and for them to be strong and to rejoice with me, that is not obtained as a gift to them. That is a learning curve. They have to learn, they have to experience the weak, right? You have a weak person, he has to go to the gym. You can't give him strength. He has to go to the gym, for example, and to exercise in the gym. There's no such thing as I'm going to give you strength to the weak. No, I can give him a gym. I can give him an invitation to exercise in a way that he didn't know how to. How do I give strength to someone who is sickly, who is weak due to a trauma or a conflict? I teach him what he has to work in his life to get over that conflict. So then I give him the information. He has to do things. He has to do them. So then you are focusing things wrong. What you do have to do is to focus them even better, to give them to the weaker, so that they are good and strong, and to rejoice with me. A great big hug to every one of you, to all your friends, your dumbass friends, to all your slave friends, and all your idiot friends. We're all, and that now we love you, Claudio. We, the slaves, the idiots, and the dumbasses love you either way. That now. Very well. Okay. How can I answer this to Claudio? And I'm clarifying
this once again. This is for everyone, not for Claudio. This is for everyone. It's for everyone.
I mean, it's good because he said what he said in public, and a lot of people see it just like Claudio does, of course. We understand they have a different position because they're seeing tithes from a different point of view. They're seeing it like it's an obligation or a law that is imposed upon you, and that actually you lose more. Because why? Because they don't see the blessings. They don't see them. And even though they suffer, because they suffer the things of this life, both in health and work, fuel, money, a whole bunch of things they suffer, even so, they resist and they don't give because their heart simply cannot see it.
part of the teaching of the eternal truth is to focus on things on the correct way. We can all, and I want for now, without arguing, because this answer is for Claudio and for all of you, for everyone, and especially for all those who, in some point or another, they see it like Claudio, because they don't understand it, because they have never tried to see it in a different perspective. Okay, the things from the place that we see it right now. Don't argue in your mind or try to defend yourself. Now try to listen to this position that maybe it was not you've never seen it from this place, from this point of view, but it is wrong from your side for you to say it's only my opinion when there's the experience of other people, the ones that you trust in, not TV, not the doctors, not the presidents, but your companions, colleagues of yours that have the same faith as you. Then you can pay attention to those details. First thing I'm going to read, I know that you know this by memory. It says, why do you read this to me if I already know it? I'm going to read it either way because it's something that actually has its fundamentals that are very special, and it is based in texts and chapters that we always use here. You know this by memory. I'm going to read it either way. Malachi 3, 8 through 12. Claudio's saying, I know that you were going to read that. That's fine. But we're going to read it either way. Malachi 3, 8 through 12, New Living Translation reads as follows. Should people steal from God? Elohim speaking, said, should the people steal from God? The original is to steal, but you have stolen from me. Or cheat God. Yahweh speaking to the people of Israel, but you ask, you have cheated me. What are you saying, Willis? What are you trying to say? What do you mean? When did we ever cheat you? When have we stolen from you? So then Yahweh answers. This is an answer which is his. People's not answering. It's all an example that he's given. But of course, our teaching, you have stolen, cheated me of the tithes and offerings. Not just tithes, but also offerings. How can we steal from God? It is literally impossible to steal from God. If he owns everything, and in other words, we can't steal from God, because if we can steal from God, actually, like in true reality, this is all an allegory. In actuality, it'd be a weak God, a God that you can steal from, that you can't cheat. No matter what we do, we can't cheat him or steal from him. Nothing. Who do we cheat and who do we steal from? Ourselves, because we are God. So then we ask God, can we cheat and steal from ourselves? Yes, of course, obviously, we can annihilate ourselves. From that God is the one that I'm speaking of, not of the God that could care less and that's watching to see what you steal from. No, we see it in all the scripture from a different point of view that's completely different. We are that I am. So then the question is, can we cheat ourselves on a permanent basis? On a permanent basis, we boycott ourselves. We cheat ourselves. We destroy ourselves. Or the DHSs are due to our own dissonances and our own conflicts that we ourselves generate. So then we ourselves boycott ourselves. We cheat ourselves, being able to have more, and the ones that has that is ours. The one that has the key is ours. The key to our prison is ours. So then if we want to be free, we want to exit, we have the key of our own freedom. No one can take it away. Apparently they can take it away. No. The key is had by us. We are that God. So then he says, you have cheated me of the tithes and offerings due to me. You are under a curse, for your whole nation has been cheating me. Bring all the tithes into the storehouse. Did Elohim care about this? No, of course not. This is a teaching that goes past the story that they tell us here. There's not a dialogue that God is speaking to the people, and people answer, no, this is all just an allegory. Just so that the people that can see these things can understand that there is a blessing, a spiritual law that has not been abolished by the Torah. The Torah is abolished, yes. When he died, is the law dead? Completely dead. The written law is. Does that mean that there's no spiritual laws? No, of course not. It does not apply to the spiritual laws, because that is what we have the conflicts for. Does this apply to Hummer's laws? No, of course not. Absolutely not. That law that gave you punishment of death does not mean that we cannot continue to study the law to get the best of it. And there's something else that's very like unto tithes, but I'm about to talk about it in a bit.
And I just wanted to add that not because you gave $100 you're gonna get $100 or 200. If you're thinking of giving $100 to receive 1,000, no, that's not the blessing. The blessing is way more other things in life, like health, in conflicts, and many things.
That is what happens. That is what takes place when we want to just scratch the surface of what tithes mean. To scratch the surface. So then it says, bring all the tithes to the storehouse so there will be enough food in my house. Do you think that those priests were in hunger? No, of course not. That gold was missing there? No, of course not. Were they starving or having such a need that were skinny like this? No, of course not. Absolutely not. So then what is the problem here? What is the problem? The problem is spiritual. The problem is spiritual. When we do not understand this spiritual law, the only one that we've been cursed to is ourselves, our life. But if we were to understand it that way, the blessings of heaven will be enormous in our lives. And I'm going to tell you something, but I'm just going to read this. If you were to do so, he says, no, notice what Yahweh says. He says, if you do what? If you bring tithes and offerings, if you do so, Yahweh Sabaoth says, Yahweh Sabaoth, Yahweh of heaven's armies, Yahweh Sabaoth, I will open the windows of heaven for you. Okay, this spiritual law has not been annulled when we are giving people, and tithes are over a lot more than what money is. I'm going to say more things, but it's so much more than just money. If it were only money, you're not going to have any special blessing in it. Tithes are something that, with that name, something general that makes us give. It makes us give back something of what we receive, and it's not money. Money is one part of tithes. It's just a part of tithes. That if we were to understand this, we would be so, but I mean so blessed. Where am I here? Okay, I'm going to pause here real quick. For example, last week, I have a Toyota Sequoia, which is Leslie's truck, and I have a Chevy Silverado, which is a pickup truck, a four-door. You may have seen some pictures, which are mine. Let's say it was ours, but I'm just saying Leslie's is that we both use. But I had that one first, and then we bought the Sequoia, and then we had the pickup there just to bring things, because we were always in some project to bring things from places like Home Depot and all the rest. And we always needed to have a pickup. Always, if you have the possibility to buy one, you could have a broken motorcycle, or you can have many cars. I mean, that depends on how life opens your doors or not. So then, I have the pickup that it's been some time that I hadn't used it, and when I don't use it, every now and then I turn it on because the battery starts to wear out. I should have a system to cut off the battery so that it doesn't wear down, because sometimes it has the battery working, sometimes it's not. So then apparently 2 weeks ago I was told that I have to go and do the smog check, which is for the smog, just for the emissions. Every 2 years I have to do so to be able to pay for the plates or the patent, the driving permit. You have to pay for it. And I need for it to go through a test where they check the emissions. And if it's within the parameters that they allow, then it passes them. It doesn't pass, you have to fix it so that it passes, blah, blah, blah. So then I said, I have to turn it on. It's most likely that the battery is not working because I haven't used it, and the code in the motor of the chip is delete. And if I take it like that and I take it to do the test, it's not going to pass, and they're going to say you deleted the codes. Maybe you didn't understand the thing. If I unplug the battery from a car, and more of those models, the new ones I don't know, the codes are deleted of that the computer chip has of something that the code marked, it gets deleted. So then I turn it on again. It has to give so many fails on a part of the car for the code to jump the to check the motor. So then if I take the car with the codes clean, they notice because it says the codes have been deleted, for example. So then if there's an error, we still don't know. So they don't accept it under law to take it like that. You have to take it at least like 40, 50 miles at least, give or take. So then they activate another code that you don't see, but they see that it says, yes, this truck has been used for 40 or 50 miles. So then you can check it because it has no errors. I don't know if you understood my explanation. So then I said, oh, okay, I have to turn it on. It has all the codes deleted. I can't just turn it on and take it like that. It's been done to me many times. I said, no, drive on the freeway, go here, go this and that, go to Loma Linda, turn around, and then come back. But you have to go almost 100 kilometers, so do you understand? 100 kilometers without any sense, just using up gas so that it resets again for them to accept it. So then I said, okay, I'm going to charge it up, and I'm going to turn it on. Maybe I'll tell Brian, take it to work, use it. I don't know. I mean, you have to drive it. So then one day I went to turn it on, and I don't know what happened, and I said, I forgot. I didn't charge it up, and I didn't turn it on. I didn't put the battery in it, and that's what happens. And yesterday, the day before yesterday, or the day before that, okay, this week, I believe it was on Wednesday, I believe. This week I said, okay, I have to go with the pickup truck. I'm going to charge it up. So then I go, already ready to charge up the battery to turn it on. And then I see the door open when I get there. And I said, who came to my pickup and opened my door and didn't close it? Leslie. So then I get there, I get near, and then I see that where the key is there, I see that you can't put, it was broken into the where the key goes into. We call it the tambor, in the register where the key goes into. There was only a hole, so that they kicked everything in. I said, wow, I opened it like that. It was all undone from the part where the steering wheel goes. It was broken upwards and downwards. All the cables broken where I see where the key goes. The guy that they came to steal it. And very well done, but they found a problem that it did not have a battery. It didn't have a battery. They did everything well, but it didn't have a battery. And if it had a battery, I can assure you that they would not have been able to steal it. Because I am blessed. It says the eternal truth. I'm blessed. How can they dare steal something from me? Some years ago, I had a Cutlass Supreme 82, a car that is used by the gangs here. I had it because I was able to buy it. I'm talking about 25 years ago. And well, Leslie and I would drive around with that car. And I went to a friend's house. I parked it, and when we came out, they stole it. And then it's the most stolen car in all the mobile Cutlass Supreme. And I know that the Chevy is making one of the most stolen cars. Yes, everything, all of it. So then I look, and they stole the car. And Leslie and I said, we don't even have a car now. It's the only one that we had. My car, we don't even have a car. That car is the only one that we were about to buy. And the car now, with that car, Leslie would go to work, or I would take her, and then I'd go to work. And that's what we used with one car. And an old car, even. But it's very high in demand, apparently. And what happened? And a friend took us to the police station because we were in Loma Linda, and we put up the report, which is the only one that we had, like little sheet. You know, like the guy that they took his little sheet, remember? And he stole it from us, and I was almost crying. My car's not there. How are they going to steal that car? So then the police said, yeah. it's never gonna turn up, most likely because the gangs use it. Why? And they use it for parts also. So when that disappears, it never comes back again. We're telling to you because that car is number one stolen right now in the U.S. and they never turn up. We'll look for it, but tell it to you now. It's very weird if it actually turns up. Well, we didn't arrive to the house, and the phone was ringing because we gave him our phone number, and it rings. Your car turned up. What? It was only an hour. What do you mean it turned up? Your car? No, they abandoned it. They abandoned it. Yeah, and you can come get it because we're waiting for you. If you come with your keys, you can take it. Wow. Says not even. We're gonna. If you get here, I mean, we're not taking it to the yard. If you get here, come look. Where is it? It's in a street here, like 7 blocks where they stole it from you. Why is it there? Apparently,
The horn was stuck. Klaxon or whatever you call it, the where beep beep, it was stuck. Boo! And they got so nervous, these thieves, that they even tried to cut the wires and they couldn't. They could never find the horn and they were driving boo with the horn stuck. And they got so nervous, they just abandoned it and left. So we got there and we cut the wires to the horn right away and we brought the car home. That's an absolute blessing. Enough for the second time. A bunch of sons of bitches. How angry I was. I mean, don't even mention it. I wanted to, right, they weren't able to start it. Right, then I went and I started it and everything was fine. Yes, they did notice that it was difficult to start it. Right, exactly as Leslie says. Those are the blessings that are least expected. The least expected blessings. Why? Because we've been blessed. Claudio said, I have never seen a blessing. He says, unfortunately, I have to say it, tides are dog shit and they've never blessed me, just give me pain and conflicts and make me weaker. Well, in my experience, in Leslie's experience, and in the experience of many others, tides have been all contrary to that. A blessing that you cannot calculate.
What did I tell you this week, Christian? I said, wow, Christian, we are blessed. They tried to take our truck and they were not able to.
A blessing in every aspect, A blessing which only I can experience it. He could say, for me it's a curse, and for me it has always been a blessing that goes way past every limit or hope that I had of receiving anything. Leslie, knows that the family I come from, my dad was a pastor, but he chose the option for them to not take the tithes off of him, because you can have an option for them to take your tithes off from your check in Argentina. He says, no, I want to give it, just give me the money and I'll give it. So then he would give it, but he would give it to my mom. But it would be in an envelope. But when money was missing for some, you would draw from that. You would get there and you would place it in a debt list on a note. So then he would say tithes and debts. And it was always in debt. You would reimburse it in certain things, and then later, when next month he would pay for that tithes, they would give it to the church, but you have the debt from the next month. It was always in debt. The debt and tithes, death and tithes. And that's how I was brought up, and maybe due to the influence, I started to do the same thing. Leslie one time says, why are you writing down? And the tithe envelope, it says what I owe, because we used it for something else. I have to pay this and that. How much do you owe? Like $3,000 in tithes. Don't you worry, I just write everything down. It's all written down in a millimeter, so then I pay in tithes. And Leslie says, pay for that immediately, even if we cannot eat. Pay for it. That was before we had our children. He says, pay for it all, absolutely all. Even if we can't eat, but you're not going to, where did you learn that? And told the story. My mom taught me to play with tithes like this. Leslie says, that's why we never have any money.
She says, of course, we're always crying because we never have money. So then from then on out, I was not able to pay for it all once and for all, but actually we made an effort, and in a little time, in just weeks, I paid for everything. But no matter if we could eat or not, I paid for everything. From then on out, never again. Always, always, what I received, we would set the tithes aside, and I would give more than tithes. Why do I have to tell you more of a slave, more of a dumbass, more what? More what? Slave, dumbass, and what? Idiots. Even more of an idiot, more slave, and more of a dumbass, because I start to give 15%. And I like that slave, that idiocy, and the dumbassy. And I started giving 20% directly to him, to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, a center where they steal. No matter, but that's what I believed. That is what I believed in. And while the more I gave, the more blessing would come. Completely, I can't describe it. It's an experience, personal experience. No matter what, like he says, no matter another experience is what I've experienced with tithes.
Your spirit elevates because you know that it is you that is given and you don't depend on another to give you.
But there are secrets with tithes, and I'm going to start to say, you have the secrets.
That is why these people that all don't see tithes as a blessing, they support each other.
Exactly. If you don't see tithes, then of course you can see it in a different way, like slavery, idiocy, and being a dumbass. So then Yahweh says, if you do it, if you give your tithes and offerings, he says, Yahweh Sabaoth says, not anybody, not YHWH, not Christian, and not the Catholic Church or anyone, Yahweh says, I will pour out the blessings so great you won't have enough. I will open the windows of heaven for you, and you won't have enough room to take it in. Exactly. It doesn't say money. It doesn't say money. It says, what does it say? Blessing from heaven. In every aspect. In every aspect from your life. From that you get up in the morning, from your works, from your instruction that you receive, from your wisdom in every aspect. That is the blessing that Yahweh gives you in every aspect. I will pour out a blessing so great that you will not have enough space to put it in. Try it, he says, try it. It is how Yahweh is daring you. He says, try me. In other ones, test me. And to test Yahweh, wow. He says, test me. Test me. He says, try it. Test me, saith the Lord. And you will have abundant harvests because I'll protect them from insects and sicknesses. Okay, this is an allegory. It's an example. Because maybe you don't have harvests or crops, but the insects are the ones that come to steal for the truck. The insects are the ones that want to get me sick, supposedly. Don't even mention the ones that you don't see. The blessing is so great of Yahweh. This is, he protects us from all that. He protects us from evil people. He protects us from situations that we will never even see, but he protects us. Why? Because we are blessed. That is why he says, test me. I will protect you from insects and disease. I will guard you from insects and disease. Those that surround you are insects. Your family members. Insects are the whole plague in the world that can ruin what you have. The thieves. And who are the diseases? You already know. All the conflicts. Yahweh has such a blessing that is not about money, It is a general blessing in every aspect. And I can attest to this absolutely. So then what I'm teaching is not for my benefit. It is for your benefit. What I'm teaching about tithes is for you. It is to teach to you to have blessing, because I don't care about your blessing that I have not received. Your blessing, I need you to be blessed, for you to prosper. That is what I care about, that the entire eternal truth to be prosperous, not that the eternal truth to, in other words, this ministry to prosper, because there's some idiots, some
What did he say? Slaves and dumbasses that give you money? No. No. I want for those that are part of the eternal truth, for them to prosper. And there's no other way to prosper according to the scripture. There's no other way to prosper. There's no other way of trying Elohim through this blessing, which is tithes. The blessing is for you. The blessing is for you. If you demonstrate that you are a God by giving, if you're not a God, you don't have anything to give. I want you to understand that. The slave is the one that receives. So then, if you have the opportunity of giving, you're not a slave. You're demonstrating that you're a God, because the one that gives is God. If you have a group of slaves, you're not going to receive anything. You'll receive obligated work, forced labor, but you won't receive anything else, because you're going to see tithes like slavery, because they have not understood what tithes are. Tithes makes you free from slavery, makes you a God. Pardon me?
Because it does not produce joy in him.
Yes, aside from that, it's because you don't understand it. You don't understand it, that it is not a God, a law as a tax. It is a law of blessing. How can I make you understand something if you don't see it in the correct way? You can see your entire life on number 9 because you're seeing a number 9, but I have to take you from the other side and you'll see a number 6. So then every time you see number 9, if you're seeing it, if you write a number 9, for example, if you write, I have a 6 here, but if you're standing from here and you say, this is my position and this is the way I see it, what are you going to see standing from there? A number 9, and you're going to argue your entire life, it's a 9, it's not a 6, it's a 9. But if I'm over here, and from here I see a number 6, I said, no, that is not a 9, that's a 6. The thing is, from what point of view you're looking from the other side, you're going to see something else. That is why, in which is the correct place? The correct place is from the one that gives us wisdom, not from your side. And Claudia says, that is my opinion, and nothing else is worth anything. No, start to see from anyone else's point of view. Watch from your life, Elohim. You're saying your motorcycle is broken. Why did you need to write that down? Your own comment demonstrates a tremendous deficit in your life. My motorcycle is broken. The paperwork is not up to date. I don't have a bank account, but that and all. Tithes are dog shit because it's giving me a curse. But hold on. If you're living, there's not worth no sin. I said that, but I could say that I live in a house, a beautiful house. No, it's worthless.
What's worth anything is the comment you placed. Because in that comment
you put your emotions written, saying, I am that guy. The one that has the broken motorcycle, that doesn't have paperwork, that I'm walking, but good thing I don't give tithes because it's a curse. So then I see your comment and you say, are you sure? Are you sure what you're saying? Yes, of course. Exactly. I want you to understand. You have to start to feel happy. Myself. Of course, of course. Never. No. Exactly. I would be with him. I'd be with him. That is what tithes are. It's not just money, it's everything. Your comments are a part of tithes. Your time. But I want to continue to read what Yahweh says. This is try it. Test me. Your crops will be abundant. I will guard them from insects and disease. Your grapes will not fall from the vine before they are ripe, says Yahweh Sabaoth. Then all the nations will call you blessed, for your land will be such a delight, says Yahweh of heaven's armies. Yahweh Sabaoth. Okay, this is an allegory. This is a story. This story never happened. This story is not a dialogue between Yahweh and the people of Israel. If it had been, they would have understood. But Yahweh never spoke to them directly. This is written by Malachi, like a prophecy and like a teaching at a personal level. Yahweh is saying If you don't understand what tithes are, I cannot bless you. I cannot bless you because I have everything to bless you. That is what happens. I have everything to bless you, but you close yourself up in your envy and in that way of not understanding my blessing out. So then I won't bless you. I won't open heavens and I won't give you anything. You'll continue on walking and with a broken, with no paperwork type of a motorcycle. Yes, and cursing tithe, and even God. Also because you expected a life that was a lot better, but you're not getting it. What is the problem? First of all, I would take my socks off. First of all, because I'm too hot. I have to be completely barefoot because wow, I'm already sweating. First of all, tithes is not a tax. It is something that you give back. And when you give back to teach you to give something, you are not cooperating. No, I don't want to use that word, cooperating. You're not paying for taxes to anybody. No one. You're not paying for taxes. What you're doing is, in one way or another, giving back something of what you received. That's it. Just as simple as that. It's a spiritual law in every aspect, not just it includes money, time, help, love, companionship, words, advice, etc., etc., etc. Tithes is everything. Your person, how much of your person do you give? How much? That is what tithes are. If you want, tithes are a lot more than physical money because maybe there's no physical money, but there's so many of your attitude, that attitude of giving to help. That's first of all. Second of all, it doesn't make us slaves or servants. It makes us in superior people, superior beings. Let me repeat this. To give tithes does not make you a slave, nor someone that's dominated, or someone that's manipulated, or a servant. It makes you a God that's giving. If you see it from that way, from that point of view, then you start to understand the concept of what it is to give, because God has to give, because He Himself gave Himself. For God so loved the world, it says He gave His Son. He gave Himself as a son. It is to give, or else you're not God. If you don't give, you're not God. So then, it is way further than being a servant. The servants and slaves don't pay for tithes. They pay with their work, their labor. They don't pay tithes. You're in the wrong concept. It is a privilege to give because it makes you God. Not just that. It does not subjugate you. It doesn't manipulate you. It doesn't nominate you. None of this. What does tithe do? It doesn't collaborate with us. They associate with us companions and shareholders about a company, and they look for associates. Some will cooperate with what they know. Others can cooperate with their experience. I just made it up that word. They're experts in something, so then we need it, and their expertise. And others, I work like a donkey. Don't ask for anything else. I work, and another says, I have money. Don't ask me for anything. I have money. So then all in that makes up a company, an associates, an activist, associates that will
Dedicate themselves to sell the product. I mean, are they all slaves? No, they cooperate to do something. Every church in this world.
How can that church stand? How can that church stand? Their members
Stop giving tithes, then it disappears entirely. How are they going to stand up? How are they going to keep standing? Its members keep it up, but they're not slaves.
It's because they believe in that. If the eternal truth, and I'm telling you to Claudio so that you can put it up
On your wall.
Claudio, every day of your life, if you love this message, if this message, this dog shit message has been any good for you, if it's been any good and it's gotten to you, you have to thank the people that has given their tithes, because if there were no people, that it would not exist. I would be here. I'd be trying to look for money somewhere else. that I have talents for something else. So then, if the people were not associates of the eternal truth, this, I'm going to say this business would not exist, because it's in conjunction, because you are the associates. You're the associates of this, and you are the ones that receive the dividends of this, and what you'll receive in the future, you cannot compare with anything. Why? Because we're the associates, the shareholders. I believe this. Here's my tithes. That's what I'm saying. If you're an Adventist, you cannot give your tithes to the Baptist. You have to give it to those who you believe in. If you believe in Ellen G. White, then give it to that church, not somewhere else. Do you understand? If the Adventists don't give tithes, then that church won't last a month. It'll break. It will go broke. How are they going to pay for the pastors? Where are they going to get the money? It goes broke. Who are the ones that hold it up? Their members. So then who holds up the eternal truth? Their members. If you, Claudio, if you come to our club, to our society of YouTube, where we preach, if you say, I don't believe in tithes, I could give a fuck, and those that give their tithes are idiots, dumbasses, and slaves. You are enjoying this only because there's idiots, slaves, and dumbasses that don't think like you and they give tithes, or else this would not exist. This would not exist. It is the only way that I can do my work. There's no other way. It is thanks to those that collaborate. There's no government help. There's no help from my dad that died already, which would be backwards in either way. No one helps us except you. This is a group that keeps itself up. If it weren't for you, I would not be speaking here, period. That's it. It's over. You owe it to those that think different than Claudio. But I believe it's more than an insult to come here and to say of those that this ministry depends on. You saying you're dumbasses, you're idiots, and slaves. But thanks to you, I can say that I liked the subject and I learned a lot from you. That is an insult. How can you not open your mind? But if you were not to help this ministry, this would be close to days. I won't do this for free. I could not do it for free. And if I start to work, I'll close this down, because I cannot be divided in two sources. Yahweh says so. I can't serve two lords. I'm going to serve the other Lord. My business that I'll start, and I'll start to do that. If I buy houses and sell houses, buy cars and sell cars, I'll be 24 hours in that. And I'm going to look some other idiot or slave or whatever that I like for him, what he says, and I'll send him my tithes. But I'm going to give you 1 minute from me of my time to speak what I speak. I have to be the entire time in this without deviating from something else. So then, thanks to the idiots, thanks to the slaves, and thanks to the dumbasses, is that everyone can enjoy this. So then it's very easy to speak later. Well, how idiots I would give you, but someday, what if everyone would think like Claudio? No one, this would not exist. This will not exist. Thanks, and look at the blessing gets to Claudio thanks to those that give. There will not be light on earth. Because if you believe in the eternal truth, that we're judges, there would not be a judgment. There would be nothing. Just like that. It'd be what you know, outside of the eternal truth, nothing. So then, you have to be careful when you say, I don't believe in this.
And I'm just speaking to those that agree with Claudio, which Saul is one of those people that is commenting.
Saul is someone that has not given tithes from years. You are hand in hand. Many ask me, and Saul, which an admin? No, Saul's not an admin. Saul is a person that is in the very same theme in which Claudio is. They say, I don't give you anything. Absolutely nothing. Do you think that I kicked Saul out? No, absolutely not. Have you seen blessings, enormous blessings over Saul? I don't know. Ask Saul.
So what I'm saying is, if there's people like this one that think this way and not giving anything because they say, well, I believe in donations, but actually they don't give anything.
You don't give anything, not even donations. Don't say anything. You're fake. I believe in donations. You know, you don't believe in anything. If you were to believe in donations, you would send something.
They don't believe in donations when it's about giving to another.
Obviously.
And what they don't know,
Obviously.
that the world flows, even the government and all the truth and everything that there is out there flows due to the generous people that give. If Hammers would not have given.
Of course. Of course.
Hammer gave what he gave for free and it would never have gotten to us. So then to give back, I can't give it back to Hammer, but I do give it back to those that have wisdom.
Exactly. And I'll multiply what Hammer did.
And even we're in the position that we receive, but they don't see the whole quantity that we give also.
You cannot measure it. You can't measure it.
They would not believe it. The day that they see this in a movie, they won't be able to believe it.
You cannot measure what we give with money. You can't measure it. Completely. But talking about people like Claudio and Saul, I'll give the example of Saul once and for all. Because they've asked me, watch if this ministry in Ekhad mention a whole quantity of the Dominican Republic, almost no one gives tithes. Maybe they've spoken amongst them and said, you know what? We're not going to give tithes anymore to the eternal truth. How many years do I not get anything from the Dominican Republic except for some? 2 or 3 that I could mention. But if I mention that, I'm going to leave the whole rest uncovered. I could mention 3 people that give tithes. The rest from the Dominican Republic doesn't give tithes in anything. And you say, maybe they don't earn anything to eat. Maybe they don't have any money. Taking these 3 or 4 people, let's say 5, in case I forget someone, 5 people. The rest, I don't know, 40, 50 people, they don't give tithes. No, they decided in their minds to live from others. What is it to live from others? To live from the eternal truth? What do they preach? Thanks to people that are very faithful that give. One of the most faithful people to give their tithes, I could say Mexico, I could say Colombia. People that believe in this, that cooperate with this, and those that live here in the U.S., because otherwise there would not be anything. And sometimes with Leslie we've said, would it be good to shut this down? Because if I shut this down, I'll dedicate myself to something else. Just like that. And obviously I don't want anything. I can earn money. And then I'll see whom we give it to, and I would earn a lot. Because this whole house, everything that I have, I bought it by me working, not receiving from you, mind you, but me working. Before having this ministry, of course. But of course, Southern.
Life is like a river. It is give and you receive. You give and you receive. It's like a river. If there was no flow like a river in life, then there would not even be food, which one produces for another.
That is why this subject is long, and it's a fascinating subject, rather. It's a fascinating subject.
These are just egotistical people that see this as a horror to give.
But I'm trying for them to see it differently. It's a teaching for Claudio, for Saul, since we mentioned him, and for people like other people. They start to, I don't know how to explain this. That is what happens, that they start to get contagious and they start to say, Christian put a heart to Claudio's message, so maybe he's right. I haven't seen it that way, but maybe I think that it's better that way. I don't want to be a slave anymore, and I don't want to give tithes. I'm telling it to you now. How embarrassing? Never. Exactly. No, and people start to get, it becomes contagious. The only thing they earn is to bring a curse upon themselves. And what if everyone else, it spreads upon everyone else. This has still been up to you because you're associates to this. It makes you, puts you to the same level. When you give your tithes, in the place where you find it to be correct, if you want to give it to shitty paths, because you think that is the truth, it makes you one with the shitty paths, and you're just as shitty as him. From the people from the Kadosh ministry,
And now, if you want something more elevated, it elevates you because you're kind of like buying a share. I don't know how you don't understand it. It's like buying a share. Why do I tell you? Because I want to get your money? No. Because there's enough people that are faithful that we are still being held up. And aside from that, Elohim will decide whether I will be held up or not.
They see it as something horrible to give you tithes.
There's shares.
But they don't see it as something horrible when they go and they pay something that they want.
No, of course. No, of course. They pay for taxes and everything else. Obviously. Exactly. But I want you to understand that when you give your tithes, you're being an associate of the message. And Yahweh takes that into account. Who are the ones that hold this up? Because if you, for Yahweh, the most important thing is that. To speak and say, I would give you. What is that? Like an American saying says, put your money where your mouth is. What do you say? Put your money where your mouth is. Put your money where your mouth is, so then your promises are no good until you fulfill them. Place your money in what you promise. So then, when one becomes a giver in what you earn, you are with what you earn, you're earning that. And that automatically gets you to the same level of the preacher. Why? Because they say, I'm an associate. I'm not paying for taxes. No, I am paying for a society, an associate. I'm buying shares. Do you understand that? What it is to buy shares from that? So then Yahweh says, if you were to give tithes to my temple, I would see in your capacity of helping what my truth is, what my kohanim are, my priests. So then I will bless them there. I could bless my priest without your help, but I'm giving you the chance of blessing you, and I won't bless you until you don't form and become one with the religion that you profess. Do you understand what I'm saying, right? It is associates. It's not slavery. It's not to be a dumbass. It is to be intelligent. I want to be a part of this. I'm going to support this. And with what I earn, I'll become an associate. There's a lot there. If there weren't people with this, of understanding this in their mind, the eternal truth would not be up from a long time ago. So then the last thing you should say is to insult and call people names, people that allow you to see what you don't want to be a part of. If you had a company and you look for people that don't want to be a part of this, and people that come to you and say, I don't want to cooperate, I want to see what you do. I don't want to cooperate. Claudio and Saul, both. The stingy, they're hand in hand. So then they say, so how are you doing? He says, fine, I'm doing all right. I want to have a company. And so then Claudio and Saul get together. And some other that I could mention. Look, I have a whole list here, mind you. So many people that I could mention here. 90% of the Dominican Republic, for example, will say that they get together with all those. Let's make a company. Yeah, we'll make a company. That's great. And they're like, we've got this product. Let's go ahead and sell this product. And then the people get together and they don't buy for the product. They don't buy the product. How long will they be up? Now, if a lot of people come and they start to buy the product and they say, this is the best product, and they cooperate with that, and then they want to be a part of it, then themselves will say, hey, everyone that bought this and you do propaganda, we want you to be part of us. We want you to be a part of us here. They're like, what about the rest that didn't buy anything? They're just watching. They can all, you know where they can go. They can go into the manure, into the bosta, the manure. Why? Because it's so important to be a part of something. Either you're a part of this or you're not a part of this. When I was an Adventist,
I could go to church or not. That I could care less. That didn't make me a part of the Adventist church. You know what made me part of the Adventist church was to cooperate with tithes, because I am an associate and nobody would do this. I mean, I would argue with Yahweh. When I believed in the Adventist churches, I didn't care whether I went or not. It was not my account, it was what I cooperated with the church. Okay, go ahead.
You made me remember how the pastor came and visited us, and he says, doesn't matter what you believe in, but continue to be our member.
That is true. That is true.
It would seem to be ironical, but they don't even care what you talk about. What they do care,
It is true.
all they cared about is that you kept giving them their tithes.
The pastor said, "Look, Christian, honestly, it doesn't matter what you believe in. We don't matter, but continue to be a member. Continue to give our tithes. Why? Because I would get $5,000, $10,000 a month. We're not talking stupid shit. It was a lot of money, and why? Because I would earn 100,000. No, maybe I earned 2,000, 30,000, 40,000, but I would get 20%, which it sounded like a lot. Plus the offerings, plus the offerings, mind you.
Plus the gifts to our friends.
I mean, not to mention, I'm not counting those tithes, which is tithes also. No, I mean, you've seen me, people that have come here have that. They take a pickup truck? My employee, when he left, I gave him a pickup truck in my name. I gave it to him, filled with tools. I said, take it, I'll give it to you. But then what I get back from that, Yahweh gives me. I want you to understand that. It is so important, tithes are, if you want to be blessed. It's so important, tithes are. If you don't want to be blessed, continue commenting, but there's blessing in every aspect. If the people come with these types of comments, and you get confused and you listen to them, these people, like Claudio, receive a lot more curse because they promote in a stumbling block for other people that had not seen it that way, but they said, no, he's right. These are idiots, dumbasses, and...
Free loafers.
No, hold on, slaves. Free loafers, in this case, would apply to me.
What I understand, the way I see it, is that the idea has spread that the one that speaks like a charlatan could stop existing, but I won't give him my money. Do you understand?
Exactly.
Because he's a freeloader. See, I've heard about
Completely.
that from many people that talk that way about the churches and about many things. But actually, it is a really bad focus in what they think.
Their focus is so wrong that I'm trying for them to refocus it. I'm not criticizing them. Claudio, I don't want you to leave. I don't want anything to go bad on you. That I want your life to be great. I want your motorcycle to be working. I want you to have in a bank account be a god, like Leslie said. For you to learn to be a god. And to not be walking. And for you to learn to be a god.
For it to be extra, and when you notice that you're missing something or you need something, and you go on the next day and I need this, and somebody hands it to you, and you're like, well, these are the blessings. Yes, these are the blessings, are the ones that Yahweh thinks before things even happen to you. Just like about the truck, that maybe it happened so that you could talk about it today.
Completely. Absolutely. Governments would not exist if there were no taxes. If the entire world would get together and say, we're not going to give any more taxes, governments would fall. They would fall. They would have to start killing citizens and whatever, but the government falls. So then, I'm against taxes. I'm against government taxes, I'm telling you, and those who can evade them, try to evade. Because I'm against, it's not to steal from the government. No.
Do you want me to read something that Saul wrote?
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
Yeah, he was saying, yeah, I used to give it before, and I sent so many dollars, millions, $1,000, but with the new job, everything has become so expensive. It's not that I'm making excuses. And there's something up above that. He says, I do believe in tithes, and I know that you have to give it, but I've been negligent in organizing myself to be able to pay for everything and give it. It's not. I'm not trying to give an excuse. No, I'm going to answer this before. So I want you to answer honestly. When was the last part that you give tithes? As a judge, say so that the people.
As a judge.
It's not an excuse, nor am I expecting. Well, okay, I'll answer him.
No. I'm going to answer this before. So I want you to answer honestly. When was the last part that you give tithes? As a judge, say so that the people, if it's true, how deep is the works? Okay, go ahead. Okay, what were you going to say?
I understand that he's not organized, but that is the only case that when I used to give the tithes, isn't it? No, up until now. Oh, exactly.
Oh, exactly. Just an example, because we're talking about the Saul, since you've written it that way, now tell us when was the last time that you ever gave us tithes. In the eternal truth, of course. It's just so we see this in retrospective. You're like, my car's not running. When was the last time that you put gas in your car? And you're saying my car's not working. No, it's been years. I know that the car doesn't even work. And what about oil? Oh, I don't do that. So it's important. It's important to look back. It's important to look back.
They're like, wow, that's why you're wearing a black shirt today.
No, I would always like to be in black. Yeah, I'm with a lot more love in 5 or 6 years. 5 or 6 years. 5 or 6 years. We'll leave it like 6 or 7. Let's round it up. 7. What if all of you would say, look, I'm going to take a sabbatical for 7 years and not give tithes? I would notice right away, or else I'm going to take a sabbatical also, and we'll go to another company. Grab my son, and we'll make a business together. My daughter, too. No, of course, but they don't work with me. Of course they give their tithes. They don't work with me in the aspect of having a family business, except for Angeline, that is in the eternal truth. But with Brian, I could have a business outside of. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Let's see what Yeshua says about all this. Let's see what Yeshua says. Luke 6:38. I'll read in the New Living Translation, and this is not a part of teaching about tithes or anything. It's just spiritual principles. And Yahweh says Luke 6:38, New Living Translation says, give and you shall receive. That's it. With that, we could say that bye. That's it. It's over. Allah says what it says. It says give and you will receive. No. I want to receive, not give. So then you're not going to receive shit. Yeshua says, notice first, give and you will receive. What is the first thought? Give. In order to receive, but I'm not waiting to receive. It says give. There is a law recorded up here. It's a law that has not been annulled with his death. It's a law that people that don't even believe in the Bible. It says, for of course, give and you shall receive. What you give unto others, which will be given back completely. The creator of the universe is speaking, okay? Not what I say. For every one of you, and especially for you, Claudio, that you called us dumbasses, idiots, and servants. The creator of the universe is your creator, my creator, Yahweh. What does he say? It says as follows. Your gift will return to you in full. Pressed down means that even more. Pressed down, shaken together so that it has no dust, to make room for more. Running over and poured into your lap. The amount you give will determine the amount you get back. I'm not saying it. It was said by the one that created this life. And Moses doesn't say it. He says so. If you believe in Yahweh, in the form of a man as the Mashiach of that time, it is like an Argentinian would say today. We have to say these words to everyone. You have to learn to give And according to how much you give, you will learn to be generous one with another. All those who rule with us, everyone else that rule with us. And said, no, a poor person has to learn to give, or else he'll always be poor. The weak person will continue to be weak. Why? Those that are unfair will continue to be unfair. Why? Until he starts to give. He says, of course, what justice? What justice? Justice is the eyes of the Creator will have to learn to give. Is to give life to the whole world. To give justice and truth unto all the world. That is what it is to give. Absolutely. How brutal is this text? Give and ye shall receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together to make room for more, running over and poured into your lap. The amount you give will determine the amount you get back. Even though I don't like that, I'm going to say some words of Paul. Acts 20:35, New Living Translation. And I've been an example, constant example of how you can help those in need by working hard. It's not just with money, but by working hard. It is to give. You should remember the words of the Lord Yeshua. It is more blessing to give than to receive. That is pure wisdom. There's more blessing in giving than receiving. In other words, you are more blessed in giving than receiving. I am blessed in what I give you. That is not even the blessing. My blessing is to give you what I have to give you. It is what Leslie has to give you, like a couple, like a lineage. It is to give the blessing that Yahweh gives us. That is the blessing. Our blessing. The rest is a part of what Yahweh you give back unto Yahweh. What is your blessing? To give, not to receive. So then a poor person, the first thing, he's poor first of all because he's learned to never to give. That's first of all. Even though it's difficult to understand. Poverty would not exist if you learn to give, and to give in every aspect. To give more from your work. A worker that gives more of his time and efforts more than what they pay for him, he'll be blessed. Automatically he'll be blessed. I've lived it my entire life. My entire life I've lived it. You don't understand what it is to give more. If you work for what you receive, then you're not going to leave from there, and there's a chance for you to have worse work, of course, because you're not fulfilling the law. If I work $4 an hour and I make an effort in working because it's $4 worth and nothing else, then I'll always be in the same. If I work as if it were $20 an hour, maybe it's 2 months or a year. But when the time comes, life will pay me. What does it pay me? Everything that I've done. I've lived it my entire life. My entire life, it's an experience, like he says. My personal experience is just nothing but curse. Well, in my personal experience and that of all the people that I know, it is more than a blessing. When you apply this, it's a blessing. So then who's telling me? Who's saying this to me? You have to take into account who's saying it to me. This advice, the one that has, and he has overabundant, and he has wisdom that is overwhelming for me, or the person that has a broken motorcycle and he's walking everywhere, no paperwork. Whose advice will I take? I'll take my advice from the one that seems to be humble, who doesn't have anything. He's always been cursed. But a person tells you that is rich person, completely rich in every aspect, overabundant in every aspect. And I love to give wisdom so that your life is better. Who are you going to get the advice? Here it is. Here it is. A person that says, I don't have a motorcycle, it's broken and I'm a mechanic. Wow. I don't have the paperwork. I go everywhere on foot and I live one curse after another. Or from a person that wants to give you lots of blessing, in which you have proven that just by listening, you've had the greatest of blessings in your life in learning. Whom will you listen to? And I'm talking to the people that wrote that, so that they think it over and say, that's true. I'm the loser. I'm the loser. I'm the idiot writing stupid shit. I mean, I'm such an idiot. To top it off, I reduce myself to say that I don't have anything, that I'm so cursed, but that tithes are a curse. And now here a person that everything goes well in life for him. Tithes were always a blessing. Every time I was an employee, I gave my tithes and I was blessed. Yah would bless me in everything, absolutely in everything. Leslie and I are people that are blessed, and the people around us are blessed when they learn from the very beginning of what it is to give. What is it to give? Not just I. Forget about everything that I've just said. Yeshua says that. There is more of a blessing in giving than in receiving. So then, to receive makes you a slave, a dumbass, and an idiot. The idiots receive, the slaves receive, and the dumbasses receive. Who are the intelligent folk? Those who give. Those who give, they're above you. Those who give are above you all the time. So then if you, due to giving, you feel like a slave, an idiot, and a dumbass, you've misunderstood everything. You're seeing everything from this point of view.
Right, because you're seeing little bugs in the air that can harm you.
Exactly, because it'd be great to collect money amongst all of us and send money to Claudio so he can fix the bike. So then that would make you become a dumbass because we have to collect money for Mr. Claudio. Look at how great. Look at what if we do that and you receive $2,000 easily. I'll send you $2,000. I would send you $2,000. You'd be more of an idiot because to top it off that you spoke about me and you spoke about what it is to give, you're receiving a blessing that you don't deserve. But who's the idiot? The one that receives. The one that receives. And you saying that's you? That no. I am only all. I don't receive your help. I make you an associate of the eternal truth. Every time you give you an associate, you can say, I am of the eternal truth because I give all my effort into the eternal truth. I'm not receiving your help. If I were to send Claudio the help of $2,000 right now, or $5,000 right now, it'd be great for his bike. He said, I don't care about the ring, but I'd like to have all the things that you say, Claudio, are an insult that I don't even take them into account. He says, I don't care about the ring. But what I would like is Harley Davidson. A Harley Davidson, which I'm not going to criticize them, top it off that it's a dog shit. It's complete dog shit. How could you have the audacity to say that you prefer a Harley Davidson before the eternal truth ring? The most ignorant fool of them all could say that. But then you don't know what the eternal truth is. Look, what if Pharaoh would take out his ring and would tell Joseph, no, you know what, Joseph would say, no, Pharaoh, I don't want your ring. I prefer that camel out there. The camel you have there, that quick one, that's the one I want. Not the ring. What do I do with the ring? The ring is a mark of belonging. It's an insult to the eternal truth. You think that when I read your comments, I don't receive the insult? It's just that I take him off me by saying, poor thing. He'll get more of a curse to his life. Whomever writes against tithes or the help given to the eternal truth, I can assure you, get ready to receive even more of a curse because you don't just think about it and you receive your curse that you deserve, but you publish it so then you receive the curse multiplied because you used your great voice by saying, tithes are dog shit. Tithes are bosta or manure. It is for slaves, for stupid idiots, and it is for dumbasses. To write that, it is to say, you mountain of curses, the dogs have already peed on me, but get close to my house and bathe me. I want to have even more of a curse, please. Wow. I don't get it. I'll tell the truth. I don't get it. I don't get it. Do you really like the eternal truth's message, or don't you like the eternal truth's message? Wow, you want to be God's? How would you feel? How would you, let's see, how do I phrase this? If Yahweh were to give us power, and he were to give us power to all of us, to the special group, and he were to give power to those that have given their tithes ever since they knew the eternal truth with effort and with joy and everything they've given their tithes. Instead of buying something else, he gave his tithes. He gave his tithes either way. He gave it because he wanted to cooperate with us. So then Yahweh comes and says, same power for you, same position, and for you, Did you give tithes? No, I never give tithes. Those dog shit. I didn't want the ring because I prefer the Harley Davidson. That's the last thing I cared about, a dog shit ring. Why do I want a dog shit ring? Give me a Harley. Give me a Harley. You could have had 3 Harleys. You want me to send you a Harley from here? I can't send it to you. But I would say, but you look down on my ring. Why would I want to buy you a Harley? Do you think I can buy a Harley right now?
Oh, yeah.
Of course. I could buy a whole truck of Harleys. But he says that the ring is manure and he prefers a Harley. Do you see how that attitude is what you dig your own grave? I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something which maybe will hurt Claudio, but it's the truth of what happened. I had selected Claudio, his wife and children, to get the ring for free. And I told Leslie, I'm going to send it to him because I know that he has no means to pay for it. He has no means to pay for it, and of those that I'm going to select, it's him. What did Claudio say that very Shabbat? I could care less about the ring. I want a Harley Davidson. So then what do you think I did with my decision? Okay, and if to top it off, you despise what I was going to give you, wow, it's like the answer of Yahweh that he gave me, even if you don't see it, as if Yahweh told me, write that, because he doesn't deserve the ring or not. I'm telling you that Yahweh tells me things like this. I had already made the decision of send you, Claudio, and your wife and children the gift as a gift. What made Claudio right? I'd rather have a Harley Davidson. When I read that, my whole morale fell. Well, not the morale. The urge to want to gift them that. The enthusiasm. I had such joy because I was going to communicate to him that I wanted him to give me the sizes of them all because I was going to gift it to them.
We have a certain quantity of rings that we could gift.
Of course, exactly. And what happened? That happened. If you were Elohim and you want to bless people and you have groups and you've told them what the form is and you say, no, I don't give tithes, I could care less, would you give them money? But I mean, it's the very same case. I wanted to give him that, but with that he tied my hands. How bad of me would it be for me to give a gift to people who said, no, I don't want the ring, I prefer a Harley? That'd be bad of me, right? And how would it make people feel that really want the ring? Do you understand? Wow. And that's just an example how Elohim works with me. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but unfortunately for the people which don't see what they're doing, they are blind. They are blind. I'll tell it to you again. If you don't want a higher curse on you, don't express against tithes. Do not express, because the curse is for sure. For sure is the curse. You could have had a blessing, but you'll have a curse. Moving on. Let's go to Proverbs 11:24 through 25. Proverbs 11:24 through 25. Something spectacular. It reads as follows. New Living Translation. Give freely and become more wealthy. A law. It's a law. It's annulled. Well, the Torah is annulled, but this is an advice. These advices from Solomon. Give generously and you'll be even richer. Give generously, not give more. Be stingy and you'll lose everything. Give generously and you'll have even more. It is a law. I want you to be great. Give generously. I teach that to my children. My children have learned that perfectly well since they were little. So then it's something that apparently your parents did not teach you. You've seen it like a curse. When it's not a curse, even if you don't believe in anything of what I say, when you believe in something, that is when the blessing comes. Give generously and you'll be even richer. Be stingy and you'll lose for everything. The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Wow, how brutal is this? How brutal is this text? Brutal text. That was in the New Living Translation.
That's what it says in the New Living Translation. The same text in the King James Version. It says, there is that scattereth, they give, and yet increaseth. And there is that withholdeth more than is meet, but is tendeth to poverty. Of course, they from coming, they go into poverty. The liberal soul shall be made fat. That is the secret. The generosity doesn't come from your pocket, it comes from the soul. The generous soul, the joyful giver, the generous soul shall prosper, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. If you see it like some tax, like something stupid, like a burden, then it becomes a curse. Everything resides in how you see tithes. It resides in that. You know that tithes has a parallel that's so impressive. You know the parallel of tithes? Shabbat. Shabbat is identical to tithes in many aspects. Those that don't understand Shabbat, they see it as a manipulation, domination, a burden, as something stupid for idiots, for dumbasses. It could become in the most bitter day of the week, in the least expected of all of them, they could see it like a loss of money.
Because, of course, if it weren't for the Shabbat, I could have had a better job. They would have employed me here, there. They're trying to hire me over here, but they need me to work on the Shabbat.
And I, on the Sabbath, I have to give it in order to work, or else how bitter is it? How bitter is the Sabbath? Always the Shabbat. I've lived the Shabbat like that even when I was younger. It says I could not play soccer on Shabbat. That was very brutal. I could not, and then my dad allowed me to play soccer, not by going to games, but they would prohibit so many things on Shabbat. You could not cook. You have to eat everything cold. And then later, you will start to heat it up in my house, not here in the Eternal Truth. So then the Shabbat could be a curse like any other. It could be seen as a burden. Also, it's just like tithes that is no good, just a tax for slaves. No, this day is for Yahweh, and you have to give it to Yahweh. Can't do this, can't do that, can't do this and that. You cannot have fun. They taught me to not have sex in Shabbat. They told me that it was a sin to have sex in Shabbat because it was not of my paths and of my pleasures. Nothing. Shabbat. The Shabbat was the most boring day of history. And if there was a game and Boca was playing, no. The Argentinian, if it was a World Cup, well, depending that, if it was a World Cup, obviously, in my judgment, that when we got married with Leslie, we started to see things differently. But it took us a long time. The Shabbat became beautiful without working. It became to be the most beautiful day of the week. Exactly. Look at what Yahweh says. You see how Yahweh said, test me in tithes to see if I don't open the windows from heaven. Look at what it says about the Shabbat. It says the other aspect is that there's so much blessing. So then if you say, but the Torah is annulled, which is correctly said, the Torah is annulled, then let's not keep the Shabbat anymore. Let's not keep the tithes anymore, and let's go out and steal. Because the Torah says thou shalt not steal. Let's go and steal, kill, covet our neighbor's wife.
Many will like that.
No, it's not serious.
It's not serious, Hector.
That is why that even though the law is annulled, you still have to respect the consequences that come due to transgressing it.
Of course, absolutely, exactly. So then, it's an entire spiritual law, and an entire spiritual law. The Torah is
the curse of the Torah,
the blessing of the Torah, and the condemnation of the Torah, and the observation of all the laws was placed, finished, ended. Like I've taught you 1,000 times over, but the spirit thereof of the Torah in certain laws, it's prophecy. and blessing entirely. So then the Shabbat and tithes are almost identical. Almost is the same word, Shabbat and tithes. Why? Because tithes is 10%. And it's almost of what you're going to live in the population of the whole world and the new earth. 10% of all that have ever existed, for example. And the Shabbat has to do with the rest. And rest in the new earth, it has to do completely with tithes. Why with tithes? Because it's everything that we give back. That's the way it is. Look, Isaiah 58:13. It is the promise of Yahweh. If you were to take from the day of rest, from Shabbat, thy foot, from doing your own will in my holy day, and call it a delight. Look, not just that you should not do, not just that you don't have to do the work of slaves, but because you could keep the Shabbat. Could it become a curse, the Shabbat? Yes or no? Completely. Because you don't call it a delight, you call it a burden, dog shit, a boast, or something stupid. Of course, you can call it perfectly well, but notice the secret of Yahweh, because this is a complete secret. If you were to turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing the pleasure, that has to do with businesses, your businesses, of doing your own pleasure on my holy days, that's holy, and you should call it a delight. What is the secret of everything he said up until now? A delight. That is the secret of it all. Call the Shabbat a delight, and I'll bless you. Call tithe a delight, and I'll bless you. Give your tithes, and you feel like it's a curse, you're going to receive even more of a curse. Call tithes a delight. Call tithes an act that makes you a part of a shareholder, part of the company. I will completely bless you. Call tithes a curse, and I'll curse you. Call tithes anything except, or the Shabbat, anything that is not a delight, then you're not going to get the result of the Shabbat. It says, it's impressive, and you should call it a delight. Holy, glorious of Yahweh. If you would call it that way, a delight, holy, set apart, a glorious day of Yahweh, in honor. It's not that we should not honor anything or worship anything. Yahweh says, if you worship the Shabbat, how do I worship it? Because I worship it. You see how I worship this. I love it. I worship this. I adore my wife. Not that I also worship her every day. But a lot more than that. But that is what it is to worship. That is what it is to venerate. Completely. You find a delight in the Shabbat. If you were to call it a delight and honor the Shabbat, not in your own ways, it is not in your own businesses, not about money on that day, not following your own desires, or talk idly, then the most important part, if you were to call it a delight and worship it and venerate it, then, barely then, not because you keep the Shabbat, not because you don't work, no, because you call it a delight. Once you understand it, then, barely then, and this is the consequence of what will happen, then the door will be your delight. I will give you great honor and satisfy you with the inheritance of the earth. What is that? It is government. I've already explained this to you. Heaven. Why heaven? Because the Shabbat. Because Shabbat means the 7th millennium. The Shabbat means the world that is to come, that we're gonna rebuild. So then, if we understand the Shabbat, if we worship to be the leaders of that Shabbat, if we understand that everything that's related with the Shabbat, we delight more than ever. If we obey it like a law, keep the day of rest to sanctify it, don't do any work in there, nor you or your son, nor your slave, nor your donkey or anything inside your gates, because Yahweh made heaven and earth in 6 days and everything therein, and blah, 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 blah. If you know that by memory, he says today the Shabbat, the sun down. Okay, now I'm going to not do anything because it's a Shabbat like the Jews. That you don't get the blessing. You have to call it, this is glorious. I'm going to worship the Shabbat. It is the best day. It is the delight. Then you'll understand what it is to go up upon the government of Yahweh, upon the heights of Yahweh, and I'll give you the inheritance of Jacob.
You know who has the heritage of Jacob? The beast has that. The beast is Jacob. Jacob is the beast. It's Israel. And they have the heritage. They are have the richness of the earth. They have them. It says those who understand it, I'm going to give them the heritage of that they have, which is the whole earth. But of course, Jacob thy father, for the mouth of Yahweh had spoken it. This is the very same promise as tithes. So then tithes and Shabbat are hand in hand. Absolutely hand in hand. And to understand this is the eternal truth. And to understand tithes is to give. That you're not a slave that has to receive. Because the example that I gave, that if we were to give money to certain people, well, poor thing, they need help. They need help, our help. Who's the greater? We that are giving to the poor, the little brother that is sick and fallen, so then he needs our help. So then if some guy says, no, I give the help, who's the one that's above? Always the one that's above is the one that gives. Because they have something to give. Do you understand that? Always the one above is the one that gives. Always in a friendship, friends. Let's say there's 10 friends here, 10 friends. And they all work in anything, but this little tiny one, he always has problems. He doesn't pay for the rent, he can't pay for it. He asks money for them to let him borrow, you have to always help him. Who's the greater? The most idiot of them all. Who's the most idiot of them all? The one that has to ask the others to help him and he gets the help, or those that give? He is the most idiot, the most of a dumbass. He's the slave. Because he is subject for others to give him misery. Can you give me? Can you give me? Can you give me? I'm not saying that you give me, but I'm saying to be a partner, to be an associate of the eternal truth. Or whatever church you go to, if you're listening to me and you're Baptist, don't give me your money. Of course, it's like a heritage talking about the Antichrist and all the rest, absolutely. But you support the group that you believe in. If you're from another group of the 5th or the 6th column or whatever, then support. Apparently, you can see the feedback. Support what you think is true. If you believe in a group that talk about how they govern us, they rule us, and they're, I don't know, reptilian, ghostly, the grays, whatever stupid shit, give money to them because they're feeding you. And they're giving you the information. So then, I'll repeat this once more. The one that gives is the king. The one that receives is the slave. You see how the mentality changes. The one that gives is the king because he has to give. The one that receives is the slave. Okay, now we go to Philippians. Let's see what Paul has to say, in which I love. Some hate Paul and all the rest, but I love in the wisdom that he gives. Philippians 4:10 through 23 says, but I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at last your care of me hath flourished again. So it means that they weren't giving and they started to give. Wherein ye were also careful, but ye lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in respect of want. Look at the logic, which is not that of Paul's, it's of the entire Bible. Not that I speak in respect of want. You bring me your money, and I know that. So it says that they were willing to help, but they had not had the opportunity. Who knows what he's talking about? He's like, and I'm not saying that your help comes to me because I have want. For I have learned and rejoiced wherein my state might be. I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed. So I've learned of everything that this life offers, to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthened me. You know this text. Notwithstanding, ye have well done that ye did communicate with me in my affliction, cooperating, sharing with me. Now you know, all Philippians, also that in the beginning of the gospel, when I departed from Macedonia. No church communicated with me as concerning giving and receiving. Precisely, he says before, that was not there to give and receive. But ye only, the only ones that you helped me are you. The other churches haven't. The other churches were like the Dominican Republic and like Cordoba. For even to Thessalonica ye sent once and again unto my necessity, not because I desire a gift, but I desire fruit, that might abound to your account. Okay, this is a 10 right here, the best score, an A+. Look, I'm not wanting gifts from you. I'm not asking you to please, I need, and for you to send me something, just give me something. No. I'm not looking for a gift from you, but I desire fruit that may abound to your account. Wow. What is Paul looking for? Very intelligent. I'm not asking for you to help me. Thank you for helping me. Because or else it'd be just like a servant. It'll be kind of like a servant that is not receiving anything. No. What I'm looking for is that you produce fruit, and the only way of producing fruit, and that it's well for you, is for you to give. So then I have to promote you to give. So then if I were to know, if I had the secret of the universe, which is to give, if you use that secret, you won't receive anything. That's it. It's over. I have the secret, and I'm trying to transmit it to you. I could give a fuck about your money. I want you to understand this well, because I have enough, and it abounds what I want you to have. And the form that you have is not that I give you, but for you to learn to give. It's the same thing that Paul is saying. Because I'm not looking for givings. You of what life has, a little, a lot, hunger or not, that's all the same. I'm looking for something else. I'm looking for you to produce, or else you will not grow as human beings. You will not grow. You will not develop. No one that learns to give will be a judge. That is more than clear. How can a judge not going to learn to give? So then, if I want to have judges, you have to learn to give. If I have soccer players, the soccer player cannot say, I want to receive the passes. No, you have to learn to give the pass first. The better passes you give, the more you'll receive, but you're going to have to give. Notice this. What does Maradona, Messi, Pelé, and all the great soccer players do? They give or they receive. It's always giving. Who is the greatest soccer? What did they give? Give or receive? They give, but of course, they give, but in every aspect. I'm giving you the secret that you're prospered. Because, of course, a person comes and says, look, my motorcycle is broken. I'm a mechanic. My paperwork, I cannot put them up to date. I don't have a bank account to put if I don't want. Or I can't, even if I wanted to. I'm walking everywhere. But all that give tithes are idiots. Servants, some dumbasses, good for nothings. Honestly, yes. And what about you? No, I'm fine. I'm walking everywhere. I'm fine. I don't have anything, but I'm happy. I'm in the 2030 agenda. I don't have anything now, and I'm happy. No, I want you to have. What is the secret to give? Give. That is the secret. Give. The more I give, the more I obtain wisdom. If I keep it to myself, I don't have anything else. That's it. I don't have anything else. Wisdom is just like money. If I do not communicate to you wisdom, I myself personally, I would not have it. And more just like that, I would not have it. That's why I talk to you 2-3 hours every Shabbat. Because if I keep it to myself, that is the time for that Yahweh will take the channel down. No, it says, why am I going to give you if you don't give it? The more you empty yourself, the more I can give you. The same thing is money. The same thing is the Shabbat. The same thing is the secret of this world, to give. If you don't give, you don't receive. If you give us love, don't expect to get it. If you don't give love, you will never, ever get it. That's the way it says. It's not that I look for a gift, your help. No, little offerings, no. But I desire fruit that may abound to your account. But I have all and abound. I am full, having received of Epaphroditus. Who the fuck is Epaphroditus? Paul says, I have everything actually, but I worry about you. I worry that your motorcycle isn't working and that you're walking. Why? Because you're a miserable fool. What's the secret? Learn to give. No, because I see that giving is a curse. No, the curse, you can see it in your life. There's no need for you to tell me what is a curse or not. You can see it in your life. being able to have a business of fixing cars or a life that is a lot more luxurious. I don't know how to explain it to you. The secret is to give, and even less to speak against giving, even never. Tithes are the greatest blessing in your life, just like the Shabbat. Two blessings, tithes and the Shabbat. Do you know both? Then you have everything complete. Bingo, entirely. A complete blessing. It is tithes and the Shabbat. Yahweh says so. Not anywhere will you hear that. Yahweh says you give the tithes, well, I'll open, but with joy. Well, I'll open the windows from heaven. You keep the Shabbat and you call it a delight. You honor it. I will give you the inheritance of the earth. There is not a greater promise than that. So then, how can you dare say the tithes is a curse? It's impossible to understand you. It says for them to. Epaphroditus says, he says, I have abundant, I am full. He says, I am full of money and everything, having received from Epaphroditus. Maybe he gave a good inheritance. Who knows? He had money. The things which ye were sent from me, an odor of a sweet smell, a sacrifice acceptable, well pleasing to God. But my God shall supply all you need according to his riches in glory by Jesus Christ. Now unto God and our Father be glory forever and ever. Amen. And blah, blah, blah. What's important thing there is that when you give, you receive. Okay, let's go to another one from Paul. The last one I'll read from Paul. 2 Corinthians 9, 6 through 15. 2 Corinthians 9, 6 through 15, New Living Translation. That is very, very good. And of course, I've already talking 2 hours and a half, and today we're not going to even touch the plagues. The plagues are those that talk against tithes. The plagues are on top of you. Wow, seriously, I'm telling you. Look, what I said about the ring, it was a true thing. Wow.
He could think that you just made it up.
No. How are you going to think something like that? And I should not swear, but I swear for the greatest thing there is. You cannot swear, but it's the truth. If I would just lie about things like that, I will shut everything down. If I have to lie, why do I want to listen to you? I'll just go make money somewhere else, obviously. No. How I'm going to dare lie?
Tell him not to get against Claudio because it served as a good subject topic for today.
Okay, Claudio is still our friend. Claudio is in a period of a learning curve like every one of us. Don't get angry against Claudio, because you'd have to be more angry than 50% of the Eternal Truth that's not even speaking with the whole entire Dominican Republic. Claudio exposed himself, but those that do not speak, that's just an example. It's an example. Ecuador, Costa Rica. I mean, don't even mention it. Don't even mention it. Don't even mention it. The most faithful countries that I've seen, most faithful ones that I've seen, we've got, well, maybe I'm wrong. Well, there's so many. From what I say is from, no, Leslie didn't understand. In the countries that I've seen, from the quantity of members and how many give, because there could be one and he doesn't give, and I don't take him into account.
See, there is a contrast here. An Argentinian that doesn't see it, and an Argentinian that feels that
he does see it, of course. No, of course. An Argentinian, it's difficult for him to give money, but he helps you in some other way. But an Argentinian, many have been very faithful in their tithes, but an Argentinian will help you in something else and not money. That's the ideology of an Argentinian. He is willing to help you. Exactly.
my mom would always give a lot, and my mom's words were always these: Leslie, when the government was more in crisis, that everything was more expensive, that's when I always had work.
Exactly.
And if he would not give me a job, he would give people around me. But I mean, I don't know how to explain it because I never lacked anything. I never lacked money to travel.
And your mom was ultra faithful in tithes. She enjoyed tithe. That's what happens. The joyful giver, she would enjoy it. Or if you're in a position that not you give it with pain, it's not blessing you.
My mom is not the type of saying, "Oh, what a bad economy," or that. No, never ever would you hear something like that.
No, none whatsoever. Not that, and nor was that she would come to our house. Christian, how are things? We can see that things are going great, or wouldn't she not say that? But you, oh, wow. And why? Because to give is to receive. That's the way it is. So then we are with Paul here. So then Paul says, 2 Corinthians 9, 6 through 15, New Living Translation. Remember the following thing. A farmer who plants only a few seeds will get a small crop. That is a physical law, right? If I want to plant a whole field of barley, but I'm going to sow just a few amount of seeds, expecting to have a large harvest, am I going to receive it? No, it's a law. It's a law. It's an oath, but that law still continues. It says, remember this, a farmer who plants only a few seeds will get a small crop, but the one who plants generously will get a generous crop. You must each decide in your heart how much to give. And don't give reluctantly or in response to pressure. For God loveth a cheerful giver. God loves the cheerful giver. And that Paul takes out from Proverbs. It's just that in Proverbs, and the version which is translated from the Hebrew, it's missing, but in the version which the Hebrews, these wise men translated to Greek, it is there. It's kind of like they took out that part. And it's in Proverbs 2:8. In the version which they took that out from in the Hebrew Bibles, which isn't found there, it's found in the Bible translation unto Greek. It reads as follows. Proverbs 22:8 says, He that soweth iniquity shall reap vanity, and the rod of his anger shall fail. God blesses those who give joyfully, and the vanity of his work shall be consumed. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that if you are evil, you'll reap evil. In other words, the plagues. But if you're a happy and giving man, or a woman, of course, a joyful giver, God blesses a joyful giver. And even in the vanity of his works he shall consume them. He shall achieve them, however you want to translate them. So then, that is where Paul draws that part. For God loveth a cheerful giver, and God is able to make all grace around toward you, that ye always having all sufficiency in all things may abound to every work. As it is written, He has sent out far and wide, He has given to the poor, His righteousness is forever. Forever. And He who gives seed for putting into the field, this is important, God is the one that gives us seed. But what you have to give, that actually, if you see, it was provided to you by God. It is God who provides the seed to the sower, and then the bread to eat. In the same way, he shall provide and augment the resources of yours. If you have the urge to give, God augments your resources so that you can give. And then, of course, he gives you more in return. In the same way, he shall provide and augment your resources, and then shall produce a great harvest of generosity in you. Listen to this well, because it's so important. Whether it's Paul saying it, whether you like him or not, he says God is the one that provides the seed for the sower and then the bread to eat. In the same way, he shall provide and augment your resources, and then he shall provide a huge harvest of generosity in you. Effectively, ye shall be enriched in everything, so that you can always be generous. But of course, a person that is generous, Elohim, make sure that you have more so that you can give already, because you're generous. And by giving, it's a circle that augments. And when we take his offerings unto those that need, they will thank God. So then two good things will result from the ministry of giving. Paul says that there's a ministry called the ministry of giving. The needs of the believers, there are two things that result from the ministry of giving. The needs of the believers in Jerusalem will be met. In other words, we'll interpret that. Of those who preach, of your ministry, of which you desire to listen to, that brings you the truth, that is Jerusalem, and they will joyfully express their thanks to God. But of course, as a result of your ministry, they will give glory to God for your generosity to them and to all believers will prove that you are obedient to the good news of the Mashiach, and they will pray for you with deep affection because of the overflowing grace God has given to you. Thank God for this gift, too wonderful for words. The gift of giving, the ministry of giving, is a great gift that has two effects, according to Paul. Since you will bless the one that gives you the spiritual feeding to Jerusalem, your group, you will be a part of the active associates of the ministry, and you make happy the ministry, then they give thanks to Elohim for what they have received. Elohim in turn blesses you again because you made the one that gives you the spiritual food happy. Make unhappy the one that gives your spiritual food, then he'll shut everything down. That's the way it is. You see it, right? It's more than clear. It's more than clear. It's absolutely clear. He says this gift is so marvelous that we cannot even describe it with words. It's absolutely true. And I'll wrap up today's subject. I'm not going to give anything of the plagues, even if it's called plagues. Plagues will be received by those that don't know how to give. Plagues, trumpets, seals, they have their minds sealed of stupidity. All the trumpets that they're listening to today and the plagues, but I don't want you to receive any of that. I want you to learn. That's why Claudio, Saul, and all the rest, I want you to learn to be good judges. That's what I want you to learn. I'm not even trying to separate you from anything. I want you to integrate you, which is different. Absolutely. I want you to be blessed. I don't need your money. I want you to be blessed yourselves. Both Saul, as him, they said, Saul, what's going on with Saul? He says that everything's going bad. So bad that he says that he can't even think about tithes. It's been 6 years. 7 years, I would say. 2,520 days. No, not two. It was what? Yes, 2,520. 2520. That would be 7 years. 7 years of a curse. What can I do? Start to give, old man. You want to see fruit? Start to give. Learn to give. So then don't comment by criticizing.
He says that he's learned.
And I don't want to offend. And he's like, now send the ring. No. Now you'll have to buy it. What was I going to say? I mean, it is clear that I'm here for you to learn. If you don't learn, then I fail. Look, I'll fail. I'll fail as the transmitter of what you have to learn.
Now, we do not have to be depressed because there's always going to be people that will not understand. So then that does not depress us, but what really is that we grow in the eternal truth. We grow because there are people that do learn, and that actually you see the blessing they have in their lives.
Completely. And speaking about that, in order for you to have a blessing, I have the list of all who do not give tithes from a year ago. Every last one of them of a year ago that they haven't given tithes. It'd be good for me to read it, right? No, I don't have anything. The plagues, it's the third trumpet plague, but they did start to shake in their seat. No, whoa. They're like...
Even though, and it's hard for them to understand because they might say, well, then what do you want, just to live from us? But I mean, we continue to grow. The blessing of Elohim will not be impeded.
The more we give with Leslie, the more blessing comes to this house. The more blessing and a blessing upon blessing. It's impressive. I'm about to buy me a new Harley, even though I'll never use it, just to have it because Claudia wanted one. Just to get a picture and send it to Claudia and say, look, I have it here without using it. Right the way they sound. Vroom, vroom. The way it sounds. I hate them because they're next to me and it's like an earthquake. I want to bring them down and grab the guy and break his face in and to burn his motorcycle because I'm driving like this, like that. And then all of a sudden, you kick back, listening to music, like this. It's terrible. If you've never experienced that, even to the last hair stands on you that you didn't even know existed because it scares you. And the guys are like this. You want to throw my car against them. I went to Nelson's house and a whole bunch of motorcycles, all Harleys, and they said, what? They said something crazy, right?
Oh, what was it? It was something about hail.
No, not that. No, I can't remember. You got a picture. It'd be great. They were all in their Harleys. I want to buy a Harley just to turn it on and record the noise and send it to Claudia. Just the room, the roar. Okay, moving on. Okay. In mentioning Harley Davidson, Davidson sounds very Jewish, very Jewish. Son of David. Oh, what a son of a bitch. You have to burn. No, I'm not going to say anything because it's hate. But look at the name. Davidson. Son of what? Oh, yeah. They told me, yes, of course. Part of the tithes is to put your likes up. You have to put a thumbs up, not thumbs down, thumbs up. And I'm about to end, and did they give us a thumbs like or not? Almost none, right? How many? Oh yeah, we've got 300 likes. Yes, 300 likes. Very good. I'm sure this subject will have a whole bunch of dislikes, thumbs down, I'm sure. I am absolutely convinced of this, that this subject will have a whole bunch of thumbs down because people hate. Apparently, it's like all the demons get into them when you mention tithes, that it's the greatest blessing. They say because you're thieves. I mean, I don't need your money. I want you to be rich. I want you to be rich. Give your tithes, absolutely. Give your tithes. Okay. So then, in order to wrap up, I'm going to read this. Just to wrap up, something marvelous. Proverbs 3, 1 through 18, in the New Living Translation. Proverbs 3, 1 through 18. You know why I haven't made a subject about tithes? I should base it in all the laws of the Torah, the first, second, third, fourth tithes, all the modalities, and I no longer want to make any subjects based in the law of the Torah. First thing they're going to say, but it's all annulled. Okay, so then that's why I wanted to mention about the spiritual part of the tithes without mentioning second tithes or anything. Second tithes was to enjoy it yourself. It was a blessing for yourself. It was like a savings account because the first tithe was to give it to the temple. The second one, it was for you. And sometimes you would not save it because you had needs and all that. You could not enjoy in the feast of Yahweh the way you should enjoy. So then when you would save your second tithe, it was not to give it to anybody, but it was for yourself. It was a savings account that was so marvelous. In case you didn't know what the second tithe was. Can you still practice it? But of course, I mean, it's a blessing. Because it's for you only. You put that apart, put that aside, and then you spend it on you. When? In the feast, in special opportunity to buy the ring. I mean, it's talking about the second tithe, not the first one, the second tithe. You have problems with the first tithe, how are you going to keep the second one? But the second one is a great blessing because you don't have to give it to anybody. It is for you, so that you enjoy it yourself in the feasts and in things that have to do with the feasts. It is very interesting, but that's why I never wanted to talk about the tithes Got to go back to the law and read everything about the law, and I don't find that appropriate. What's appropriate now is that you are blessed, that you have a life of blessing. That is why I focused on the spiritual part. Proverbs 3 1 through 18, New Living Translation. And the blessing about this is that it was brought without even intention by Claudio. Because I'd be talking about the plagues right now, part 4. But Claudio brought this, so then it's already a blessing to have been brought this. It's a blessing for everyone, so that they learn to take care of what you oppose. Because I'm not going to curse you in anything, but Yahweh life curses you. Because precisely the greatest secret of being prosperous is to give. When your heart learns to give, that is when life starts to smile at you in so many things. I'm going to read this again. I have to read it again. This comment. You know why? Because I have to answer that question that I have not answered yet before reading Proverbs. I have to answer this one a little bit longer. Let's see. Where are you? Let's see. It was, what was it? 5 and 6. Here it is. It reads as follows, Claudio. Look at how it's going to sound now. Dear Christian and Leslie, it was a great subject. I love hearing you. Thanks to another idiots and dumbasses that contribute. But I differ in some points. I tell you now, I don't believe in tithes. For me, it's a dead law of a God that died long time ago. In fact, in my personal experience, it has never been any good or worth shit. Of course, it's always been a burden for you. It was never anything glorious. It was not. And I'm not even sure that it'll ever be, because maybe in your character you will never be able, or yes, Leslie, that could happen, right? Of course. It could be. I don't want to condemn you that it won't be. You could see it. Exactly. But I want you to understand this, Claudio, at least. Maybe you've never seen this. That's fine. Maybe you've never seen it. But if you're able to see it, you have to understand that if someday you give tithes, don't give it like the way you used to give it before. Do it with joy, knowing that it is a delight to give this and makes you a king. You have to do it this way. Because if you've always given it like if it was a burden or a slave, it's like keeping the Shabbat by obligation. What good is it? It is no good. God blesses the one that do it joyfully, and if you have to give joyfully, you have to understand it, or else you don't give it joyfully. So then he says, it's never done me any good. Of anything you say, not even 1% has been, all the blessings that you said me in my life, not even 1% has been fulfilled in my life. Unfortunately, I have to tell it to you, but that's what tithe is. Dog shit. It's never blessed me. No, of course, you never understood what tithes were. Only thing I found was pain. Why pain? Why pain? Let's suppose that you used to give tithes. Where did the pain come from? You have to see that. Claudio, you tell me the only thing I would found by giving tithes was pain. Pain came because you found it that once you gave it, life would give you pain? Or the pain is where I'm going to tell you in giving it. That's where the pain is. It brought me pain. By giving it, gave me pain to my life. To give tithes, it's only I found is conflicts and pain. Those conflicts is by giving it. Conflicts with myself. How I'm going to give this? I'm going to give tithes anymore. How awful. And I give it because it's a law, but fucking Yahweh, fucking church, fucking whatever. I give it by obligation to say, no, I won't give it anymore. That is the problem. Why did it bring pain? Why? To give it. What is the pain? It brought you pain to your life. You say that you placed the tithes, and if you gave tithes 1 week or in the month, you would have pain. And those pain left in the moment that you stopped giving it? No, of course not. Not even you believe that. What would produce pain was the act of giving. So then look, if you used to give tithes with pain, how's he going to Elohim bless you if he says to do it joyfully? It's the contrary. I want you to understand that. For you to understand that point. If you give tithes with pain, it'll bring bitterness. If you bring tithes with joy, to say, I am an associate of this, I am a part of this. Wow. What a joy, an eternal joy to be an associate of the eternal truth. It's an integral part of this movement, of this true movement. An integral part. Do you understand that? Are you able to grasp it? Yes. It says, the only thing I found was pain and conflicts, and to top it off, it made me weaker. Why? In what sense did it make you weaker? Because I always waited on another. Tithes is not for you to wait on anybody. See, there it is. You used to give it. That's the way it is. You used to give it with the intention of receiving something. Exactly. And you're waiting for another. Who would be that other? And you would give it with an interest. You were somebody that had an interest in something. That's precisely when you have to give it in another way, completely with joy. With joy. Look, you did everything wrong. That's why it's a curse. Absolutely, it's all wrong. You were always waiting for someone else. You don't have to wait for anyone. Just wait on yourself. You're a person that gives, and you wait on yourself. Elohim will bless you. Just laws for slaves. How's it going to be a law for slaves? Absolutely. The one that gives cannot be a slave. Idiots and dumbasses. It's just an unjust law. Not unjust. It is justice itself. It is my experience exactly. I agree. And others, it is no account. It is not valid. It does not. What does that have to do with the work that is well paid of the people that work? In your case, the nations. Another problem that I'm thinking about is the way of letting it get to you. That would be another subject. I am too far away, and I don't have a bank account. I've never had one. I hate the whole bank system, and even if I wanted, my motorcycle is broken. Maybe it's for you. For me, it's not even nothing. That's how the money that I use for my dog. Maybe for you, it's a testicle and a half because you don't have anything. Do you understand? A Harley for us would not be a testicle and a half. No, of course, and to top it off, you would lose everything. The means that you have, the other half that you have. One day when we're face to face, we'll fix an account and see if you can fix with money. Yeah, also we can throw some hands. No, I'm just playing. But I'll have an acquisition, but also no blessing has ever happened. No, that's a lie. I cannot accept it. I read this from a judge that says that such a blessing has never existed. That is an open lie. I cannot let you expose this like a judge saying tithes do not bring blessing. No, that is in the eyes of a person that hates it. That is an enemy of giving. Of course. But that about it never existed. No, you cannot assure this. I'm telling to you now, face to face, in my life, it has existed. This has existed in such a highlighted way, so highlighted place in Leslie's life and in the life of the people that surround me. It has never existed. Never such a blessing has existed. Aside from that, I don't want anybody to ever govern me. In fact, you're a part of the government because you cooperate. Nor to be manipulated. How are you going to be manipulated if you're cooperating with that? Or handle me or do something similar, and I want to be free. You are free, completely free of giving without being a subject. I don't even want to be manipulated by Yahweh. I just want to learn justice. Well, today you're learning justice. Maybe you don't see it as justice. Maybe it's not your justice. But actually, it is justice and it's the eternal truth. That's the way it is. We have to learn to give. How are we going to give people everything that they have to receive and learn? And to give it to the more that are weaker so that we're strong and good people, and to rejoice with me. A great big hug to everyone. Okay, a great greeting, a great big hug for you and to all of yours. This was a subject that was only to learn to give, and I had to answer it because if I don't answer those types of messages, if it were from someone else, not from the eternal truth, I'll just automatically cancel it. I said, have him posted in his grandma's timeline.
In both England and Chile, they have seen the moon.
Okay, great. Welcome to the month of Ishar or Ziv, the second month. You already seen the moon in England. They've seen the moon. Where was it? In Chile. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's great. That's great. So then, Felix and okay, that's great. So then, welcome to the second month. So then there's no more doubts. about this. The calendar shows the way it is. And in 17 days, it'll be 217. Will something take place? How would I love for something to happen? Maybe if he gives his tithes, if Saul gives tithes, it's been 7 years that he hasn't given tithes. That would be a great event. And to top it off, something else happens, another effect. That is why when you do not give, you're not a part of something, and you start to draw away. When you least expect it, you can no longer hear. If you hear, listen or not, because it's not a part of you, because you're not an associate. You're not a part of a shareholder. You have no more shares there. You could care less. That is another part of it. Proverbs. And I'll wrap up with this. It's been 3 hours already. Proverbs 3, 1-18, New Living Translation. My child, never forget the things I have taught you. Store my commands in your heart. If you do this, you will live many years and your life will be satisfying. Never let loyalty and kindness leave you, nor kindness nor loyalty leave you. Loyalty is fidelity, semper fi. Semper fidelity, always fidelity. Never allow loyalty nor kindness to leave you. Tie them around your neck. As a reminder, write them deep with your heart. Loyalty and kindness, then you will find favor with both God and people. And you will earn a good rep. That is what we're looking for, a good reputation. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Yes, that is the truth. Do not depend on your own understanding. That is my experience. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. Do not be impressed with your own wisdom. Tithe is dog shit, and it's never been any good. Don't be impressed by your own wisdom. Instead, fear Yahweh and turn away from evil. Then you will have healing for your body and strength for your bones. That is a part of what the Germanic medicine is. Honor Yahweh with your wealth. How can you honor Yahweh with your wealth? Starting by giving tithes. Honor Yahweh with your wealth and with the best part of everything you produce. Then the best. Notice the best, not with some what is left over and here's a little change. No, you want the blessing of Elohim. It says honor Yahweh with your richness, your wealth, and the best part of everything you produce. Then he, who Yahweh, then he will fill your barns with grain, and your vats will overflow with good wine. Your grain and your vats will overflow with good wine. Look, wow, this is marvelous. Why? Because Yahweh will honor you with his blessing. If he never blessed you greatly, it is because you never honored him properly. Maybe you kept some laws. That is not the law that you should keep. The law that he wanted you to keep for you to give a joy, that you understand what it is to give. Then there, he will fill your barns and your vats will overflow with good wine, my child. Don't reject the Lord's discipline. This would be one of those. Or when he disciplines you, and don't be discouraged when he corrects you, for the Lord corrects those he loves, just as a father corrects a child in whom he delights. In the child that in whom he delights. For Yahweh corrects those he loves, just as a father corrects a child in whom he delights, of course. Happy and joyful is the person who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding. For wisdom is more profitable. This is what the eternal truth gives you, not laws, wisdom, nothing else, nothing, just wisdom. For wisdom is more profitable than silver, and her wages are better than gold. But of course, that's what I'm telling you. You cannot pay, not even with tithes or little helps, what you receive here. But that is why Yahweh blesses us so greatly. They won't want to steal my truck. They can't. They can't steal my truck, which I would have gotten upset, but it's all that truck. It's already ruined. But I liked it. I liked it, for example. I liked that truck. I didn't want them to steal it for it to end up stolen. No. Excuse me? Oh, no? Okay. The truck was all, things were falling apart. Minto doesn't want to paint it and things like that. But the truck was working, was running well. It was running fine, so I like my truck. The tires are all full. I mean, I have to change it and do the smoke test, and not for them to steal it. Hold on, the truck is mine. It's old, but it's mine. It's kind of like a Harley. The motor sounds spectacular. Okay, so
I posted a picture on my timeline where we have today's live link, where it says live in YouTube, the link of today. I added the picture there, and it said iron order.
what are you talking about? Oh, okay. Iron Order. The Iron Order. Iron Order in the group of Harleys. Okay, so then pay attention. The wisdom is greater than silver, and its wages better than gold. Wisdom is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her. Nothing that you wish could ever compare with wisdom. Of course, she offers you long life in her right hand, and riches and honor in her left. That is what wisdom is. She will guide you down delightful paths. All her ways are satisfying. Wisdom is a tree of life to those who embrace her. Happy are those who hold her tightly. Notice that the tree of life is not the Torah like the Jews say. The tree of life is wisdom. It is the tree of life. So then, if your heart is filled with wisdom, in a place in which you feel identified, in a place in which you want to be an integral part, not just a listener, but a part of this, of saying, I am an associate of the eternal truth, then you will receive the greatest blessing in your life for you to give it. Give tithes, more than tithes, what you can consider your offerings with joy, because that makes you an associate of the eternal truth. And the eternal truth, the only thing that it has done for your life to give you wisdom, and wisdom has no price. Wisdom is the tree of life. Those who hold tightly unto her are happy. Happy are those who embrace her. They hold what tightly? Wisdom. And how do you hold tightly to her? By becoming an associate, by holding this up, by being an integral part of this. It was my intention to speak about this, but we'll leave this for next Shabbat, because Yahweh guides me in what is necessary, and this was necessary because of this comment influences certain people that confuse things, and they said, no, yeah, in the end of it, I don't want to be a slave. I don't want to be a slave. I don't want to give tithes nor offerings because that makes me a slave. No, it's the other way around. It's the other way around. When you give to what you believe in, you are investing. You are investing something that will reward you unthinkably. It'll reward you not just in this life, but also in the millennium that's coming, in eternity. It'll reward you in a way that you're going to say, wow. And I thought that it was so little, and I had my doubts. And this, what I'm receiving now, I could not believe it. Because I have the inheritance, the nations, two things, as Yahweh promises. Those that give tithes with joy, and those who keep Shabbat, and they call it a delight.
earth and blessings, the maximum ones from heaven. I could not wrap up without reading what I have to read. Shema Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our Elohim, Yahweh is one alone. It's not two, not three. He doesn't have a son that lives with him, which is his slave, which is his servant. There's also not a Lord that's called the Holy Spirit that nobody sees. No, it's only one being. That only being didn't have anyone to send but himself. So he came to earth, but under a pseudonym, the Son of the Most High, the Son of Elohim. That is why, yeah, I know they're telling me to hurry up. There's the Hades alarm says I cut it off. It's been past 3 hours. No, I'm just playing. So then, we want to be only one Elohim, and there's nothing else. And I also want to read, for what reason it is the shark here, which is so upset, and Eddie with the devil. Why are they here? Because they are by Malachi 2:17, and we've already into number 2. Today is number 2. 1, not us, but they've seen the moon for Felix and for some. It's already number 2. Malachi 2:17, it says, you have wearied Yahweh with your words. I hope that for 2:17, Yahweh has his balls like this filled of what we're waiting for. We're so sick of waiting there that he's weary. We're also weary to see if in 2:17 you do something, Yahweh. Let's see, and if in 2:17 you do something, Yahweh. Let's see if you already get together and your divine balls are filled with all our complaints. Ye have wearied Yahweh with your words. Yet ye say, wherein have we wearied him? When ye say, everyone that doeth evil is good in the sight of Yahweh, and he delighteth in them, or where is the Elohim of judgment? It's not we have to give tithe, some would say. Malachi 2:17. That is why we've got here the shark and Eddie with the devil complaining, where is the Elohim of judgment? Because we are completely upset of waiting. We're sick and tired of waiting. Shabbat Shalom. In the picture that Leslie gave us for the spectacular invitation is the flat earth. How do I love it? It fascinates me, the flat earth. So then, but let us leave this text. I'm going to read the text. Yes. So then you're going to look for another flat earth. When he opened the third seal, I heard the third living being saying, come. And I saw. And so then there was a black horse, and the one riding thereon had a balance, and I heard a voice in between the 4 living beings. It says, 1 liter for a day's work of barley, and 3 liters of barley for 1 day's work. But do not cause harm to the oil and the wine. We shall see this if we can understand it in one way or another next Shabbat. And today I wanted to give you a little present, which I'll read it to you. This present comes from one of the most preferred groups that I had I was such a fan. I had all the CDs, absolutely a fan of what I'm going to say now. And it has to do with until how long do we have to wait for her? It's kind of like a letter of a protest letter. Has nothing to do with what we protest. Until when? Until when is the Elohim of justice? How long do we have to wait? But I would like to share this lyrics with you because I love them. The group is called Seru Hiram. It's an Argentinian group. It's by Charlie Garcia, David Levin, Oscar Moro, and Pedro Hernara. Four geniuses, of which Charlie Garcia is, I'm going to say a word, a blasphemous word. It's my complete idol of the Argentinian music. Charlie Garcia is the maximum. Nothing gets close to nothing, absolutely nothing. Charlie is a genius, an absolute genius, absolute master, the greatest and most incredible music writer that this country has given. They don't even get close to him. Nothing. Charlie Garcia, in my opinion and in my life,
since I was little up until now has always been the maximum. There is a complete poet that's ahead of his time in every sense. Complete genius. He was always drugged up, talking about stupid shit, but a genius in his lyrics, his music, his voice, everything about him. A complete master. Charlie Garcia, the best Argentinian music writer, in my opinion. Well, this subject is from David Levin. And it's still in the Bicicleta CD, Seru Giran. It's a group that's a super group composed by him. It's been just little CDs. One of my favorite ones was called La Grasa de las Capitales, but oh well. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, don't you worry. But I'm going to read you the lyrics, then you'll hear it. You'll listen to it later. The lyrics are as follows. The song is called ¿Cuánto tiempo más llegará? How much longer will it take? That is my demand and yours. How much longer more will it take? This whole hell. With time, you start to change. Of course, it's so great to sing it. With time, you start to change. But my voice right now, not today. With time, you start to change. Is that true or not? We start to change with time, but of course. The eternal truth is brutally changing all the time. With time, you start to change, and your eyes are seeing the afterlife. How much longer will it take? How much longer will it take? Illusions. Crystal letters. These are the crystal letters. Crystal letters that break. They don't last at all, nothing at all. They break. Empty promises. Misunderstood empty promises. Illusions. We all have all the illusions. Crystal letters simulating that you know where you are all the time. We don't even know where the fuck we are. But at least with our faith we simulate we are here waiting at the end of the 6,000 years. That all this craziness, insanity that came from the cup of wine, Yahweh separated us. I mean, that simulating that we know where we are. We actually don't know where we are because we don't know how long is left. We don't know if it'll be now or if we have to wait 10 years. We don't know. So then at least we simulate, or we have faith in something to continue with this life, simulating that you know where you are. Some will say, my goodness, you're old. Please, let's speak seriously. He says, let's stop with the stupid shit. You're already very old. And with time, the magic of being here, you go on supposing that you know where you must go. You go supposing, he says, with time, the magic of being here, that whole enchantment and the whole experience of having lived this life, the magic of being here, you go on supposing that you know where you're going. How much ignorance runs through your body. How much ignorance runs through your body today. Don't even yield yourself into the wind without thinking why. You don't even yield yourself into the wind without thinking about why. Why? Because of your ignorance. And wind, what is that? It's a symbol of the Holy Spirit that takes you and brings you and you know where it comes from. How much longer will it take? How much longer will it take? It's a precious hymn. If you've never listened to Seru Giran, listen to it relaxed. It's got impressive songs. La Grasa de las Capitales. Listen to the letters of it, the lyric. Listen to the conversation of San Francisco and the wolf. It kills you. The wolf, you see how there's that story that San Francisco de Asís would speak with the wolf, so then there's a conversation. So the wolf says, look, I left everything. I stopped being evil. I stopped being vicious. But once I knew the people, now I tell you, I say goodbye because I'm going to go back to being vicious, murderer like I always was because you let me down. I mean, it's so great, the lyrics of, read the lyrics because it's got such a music, that band. I mean, Charlie is an absolute genius, an absolute master. La Grasa de las Capitales. The fat of the capitals, that is one. Francisco and the Wolf, another one. Francisco and the Wolf, what? The one I'm reading? The one I'm reading is called How Much Longer Will It Take? How much longer will it take? Let's say Seru Giran. They don't even know how to write it. But Seru Giran. Seru Hiram. It has an accent mark. S-U-R-U with an accent mark and Hiram with a G. Seru Hiram. I'll read it all once and for all without commenting. It says, with time you start to change and your eyes see the afterlife. How much longer will it take? How much longer will it take? Illusions, letters of crystal, simulating that you know where you are. Some will say, you're so old. Please, let's speak seriously. And with time, the magic of being here, you suppose that you know where you must go. How much ignorance runs through your body today? You don't even yield yourself into the wind without thinking why. How much longer will it take? How much longer will it take? This song is... It's what do you call that favorite genre that I like from Bad Bunny? It's a reggaeton. It's a reggaeton. Tell me if a reggaeton's gonna ever have this type of music. I sound like Bad Bunny already. Hey, bitch.
Last time Fito Baez was laughing about how reggaeton has I don't know how many writers of their lyrics.
What sons of bitches?
And he says, and I, who write the letter, I produce it and sing it.
Another genius, Fito. Another genius. He says, you have a whole list of writers and they write dog shit to top it off. Not dog shit. It's a good product for dog shit people. So then who listens to that? You already know, dog shit people. What, you listen to that? Well, that would be your problem. But Seru Hiran, wow, listen to the music they make. It is absolutely marvelous. Another subject that I so love, but well, it would not have anything to do with seminaries. Another one, seminaries. Listen to how precious a song seminaries is.
Well, I like Fito Páez, Pineda. I mean, they're all poets.
All poets, Fito Páez, Pineda, Sola Stereo, also Fabiano Cantino. That a whole litter of artists, I like them. Grandfathers of Nothing, that whole group of progressive rock, 70s, 80s, Pescado Rabioso, Vicious Fish.
Well, that's what we grew up with, at least.
Bucks Day. I used to laugh Bucks Day. Bucks Day means the voice of God. He wrote a Bible. He wrote the Bible, Peter and Paul. That whole music I always loved. Everything about Charlie Garcia, everything. From Sui Generis and the Machine of Making Birds, Seru Hiran, everything. Charlie Garcia, absolutely everything. All his work, an absolute genius, a master, the best of them all. And from then on, everything else. Without any further ado, I hope you have learned something today. I hope that you have adjusted your vision of what tithes are, what it is to give. The blessing is only for you, and it makes you kings because you can give. But in turn, Yahweh blesses you in a way that's so incredible. How? He blesses the kings. Without any further ado, we shall meet again next Shabbat to continue on with the plagues, the trumpets, and the seals. Let us wrap up with a word of prayer. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks because you teach us through the scriptures that everything is concealed, but you give us the beauty of what it is to give and what the Shabbat is. I ask you that we really can see your glory and power. We are waiting for you, and it would be actually a dissatisfaction for nothing to happen within these 1335 days on 217. But either way, we'll continue on because this earth is ours, and no one will take it from us because it's absolutely ours. We are waiting for the days that you give us power to be able to take it. All this I thank you for in your precious name. Give intelligence and wisdom to all those who need it, that they can understand what it is to give, that they can understand the privilege of giving, which are kings. They're not servants. All this, in your precious name, I thank you for. Alleluia. Semper Fi to each and every one of you. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve. Crowned with glory, let us live. Alleluia. And lots of blessings and great big applause to the Argentum bride of Yahweh. May this chat, may this study, however you want to call it, make you more intelligent, more wise, with more wisdom. That is my desire. Only is my intention. That you can go and leave the mental enclosures that we put ourselves in, and that we can be, victorious in places in which we didn't even know. And that we can receive a blessing greatly. Hallelujah. To everyone, all the judges, all the followers, all those that make up this whole precious group of the eternal truth. Hallelujah to every one of you.